Hey guys, tonight we step into a room where the air feels cooler than it should, where the edges of the furniture soften under moonlight, and where the quiet has that thick, velvety texture you only notice when the day finally lets go of you. Picture a doorway cracked open by an inch. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just enough space for a ribbon of light to spill across the floor like it's searching for something. And then you hear it. Not a sound, really more like the idea of sound. A hush that moves. The tiniest brush of presence. The kind that makes your brain lean forward without you asking it to. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're the type who reads comments at night, post your location and your local time down there too. It's oddly comforting to know you're not the only one awake while the world pretends it isn't. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're still here, which already tells me something about you. You respect a good mystery, and you're willing to follow something quiet if it feels safe enough. Cats understand that about you in the most unfair way. They don't demand attention like a siren. They don't audition. They simply appear like the universe tapped your shoulder gently and said, "Look." In your mind, you're at that doorway. The cat arrives without announcing itself, as if it's been in the room the whole time and you're the one who just became aware. The body is a smooth silhouette, the outline clean against the pale strip of light. No rusing, no wasted movement. Every step is placed with a kind of deliberate softness that makes you feel clumsy by comparison, even if you're literally lying down doing nothing. Especially then. Here's the first relaxing truth. Cats are masters of energy conservation, and they teach it without giving a lecture. Their whole existence is a negotiation between motion and stillness, and somehow they always win. You watch that slow approach and your shoulders loosen a fraction because your nervous system recognizes the message. Nothing is chasing you right now. Nothing urgent is happening. The world can wait. The cat crosses the threshold, and it doesn't stomp into the light like it owns it. It slips into it like it's borrowing it. The paws land in a way that seems impossible, soft, silent, certain. That's not magic. That's design. Quiet pads. A body built for stealth. Claws that can stay politely out of the way when they're not needed. And the funniest part is how effortlessly it all happens, like the cat is thinking. Imagine walking loudly on purpose. Couldn't be me. You might notice how your attention narrows, not in a stressed way, but in a soothed way, like you're focusing on a candle flame. The cat becomes the only moving thing, and your brain, exhausted from juggling the day, is grateful to follow a single simple story. Step, step, pause, step. The pace is hypnotic because it's consistent. Predictable. The opposite of your notifications. And there's a quiet question hiding under all of this, the kind that hooks you without shouting. Why does a creature this small feel like it changes the whole room? Not by force, by presence. Why does the simple act of watching a cat move feel like your thoughts are being folded neatly and placed back on the shelf? The cat stops near the light, right at the border where the brightness fades into shadow. It stands there like it's considering the physics of the floor. Then it turns its head, just slightly, and you get that brief gleam in the eyes, not creepy, not dramatic, just reflective like two little coins catching a passing beam. And you feel something ancient click into place. Humans have been watching cats do this for thousands of years. In homes, in temples, on ships, in alleys, in warm kitchens at the edge of winter. Always the same calm fascination, like we're trying to decode an animal that refuses to be decoded. Cats are not built to be loud companions. They're built to be close. That's why they feel so perfect for nighttime. They match the hour. They belong to the liminal spaces, doorways, windowsills, the narrow strip of hallway light, the foot of the bed where the world ends and sleep begins. And even when you've seen a cat 1,000 times, there's still something quietly mythic about the way it carries itself, like it knows a story you don't. The cat takes a few more velvet steps and then, With a grace that borders on rude, it sits. Not carefully, not cautiously. Like sitting is a decision it made years ago and perfected. The tail wraps around the feet or flicks once, slow and measured, as if it's signing its name in the air. You notice how still everything is around it, and you realize the stillness isn't empty. It's full of tiny details your daytime brain ignores. The faint shift of fur with each breath, the minute twitch of an ear catching distant sound, the way the chest rises and falls with a steady rhythm that makes your own breathing feel slightly less chaotic. If you've ever wondered why cats look like they're always calm, here's another soothing truth. A lot of their calm is physical. Their bodies are built to rest deeply and quickly, to toggle between alertness and relaxation like a switch. They can be intensely present and intensely relaxed in the same moment, which is honestly a skill you'd pay a subscription for if it came in an app. And you're watching it happen for free, in soft moonlight, as if the universe wanted to throw you a small kindness. The cat's gaze drifts toward you, not a stare, more like a casual acknowledgement, the way a very confident neighbor might nod once and keep walking. You get the sense that you've been included in something, and your brain, which has spent all day being evaluated by people and tasks, appreciates the lack of judgment. Cats don't praise you for productivity. They don't care about your calendar. They care about whether the room feels safe, whether the temperature is right, whether you might be a useful source of warmth, and whether you understand the sacred rule. Admiration should be quiet. You feel yourself settling further into the scene. Your eyelids feel heavier, not because you're bored, but because your mind has stopped scanning for threats. There's something about a cat's quiet confidence that acts like a signal flare to your nervous system. If this creature can relax here, you probably can too. It's not logical. It's biological. Social animals borrow calm from other beings. Cats, somehow, lend it without even trying. The cat shifts its weight and stands again, stretching with that slow, luxurious extension that makes you question your own posture choices for the last decade. The spine arches, the shoulders roll, the whole body lengthens as if it's remembering it has bones and deciding to appreciate them. There's no rush back in emotion, just a smooth transition from stillness into movement like a tide turning. And your body mirrors it in tiny ways. Your jaw unclenches, your hands relax, your breath deepens almost by accident. Cats are often most active at the edges of the day, those twilight hours when the world isn't fully awake or fully asleep. That fits the vibe tonight perfectly. You're not being yanked into energy. You're being invited into softness. You're following a creature that moves like it has all the time in the world, and your brain, starving for that permission, starts to believe it. The cat walks toward the window and pauses, looking out. There's a quiet grandeur in that simple silhouette, fur outlined by faint city glow or starlight, body still as sculpture, attention focused on something you can't see. You imagine what the cat is tracking, a distant rustle in a bush, a moth tapping against glass, the subtle drama of nighttime air. Cats live in a world of small signals. Their universe is built from whispers, and the more you watch, the more your own thoughts lower their volume. That's the trick of science for sleep, really. You don't need fireworks. You need your mind to become curious in a gentle way. Curiosity that doesn't spike adrenaline, curiosity that softens you. Cats are perfect for that because they're endlessly interesting without being chaotic. They're puzzles made of warmth. The cat leaves the window and glides back across the room. It doesn't follow the shortest path. It follows the most elegant one. It brushes lightly along the edge of a chair, as if checking in with the furniture, making sure everything is where it belongs. There's a reason that looks so calming. Cats create order through routine. Even their wandering is a ritual. The same routes, the same pauses, the same places where they stop, as if the floor itself has designated resting points. And your brain, which loves patterns more than it admits, relaxes into the predictability. You might notice something else. Cats rarely waste motion. They don't fidget the way humans do when they're uncomfortable with stillness. They can sit and simply be, as if existence isn't a performance. It's almost annoying how good they are at it. But it's also a gift, because when you watch an animal embody stillness so naturally, it becomes easier to imagine stillness as a normal state, not something you have to earn. The cat turns toward you again and steps closer, the paws making no announcement. There's that velvet footstep miracle up close now, the softness of each landing. If you listen carefully, you might catch the faintest whisper, fur brushing air, a tiny exhale, the quiet contact of paw to floor. It's the kind of soundscape that makes you realize how loud your life is during the day. And tonight, you're choosing quieter. The cat stops beside you, close enough to feel like company, not so close it feels invasive. That's another unspoken cat skill: boundaries. Cats are experts at controlled closeness. They can be affectionate without being overwhelming. They can be near you without swallowing your space. In a world that constantly pushes and pulls at you, that kind of companionship feels like a relief. You feel the cat settle, maybe onto the bed, maybe onto the chair near you, maybe onto the exact spot you were planning to use, because of course, there's a tiny shift in the room's balance, like the atmosphere has accepted a new center of gravity. You're aware of warmth, of breath, of a living presence that doesn't require conversation. And the longer you hold this moment, the more it begins to feel like a doorway itself, one you can step through without moving. That initial hypnotic question returns, quieter this time, more intimate. What if the calm you're looking for isn't something you chase, but something you borrow from a creature that's already mastered it? What if the secret is simply noticing and letting your body follow what it notices? The cat's chest rises, falls, rises again. There's a tiny pause in between breaths that feels like the space between waves. Your own breathing starts to find it, matching, not forced, just aligning. And then, almost casually, the cat releases a low, steady vibration, soft enough that you feel it more than you hear it, like a small engine turning over in the dark, like the room itself has begun to hum. That sound settles in like it belongs there, like the room has always had a hidden motor and someone finally flipped it on. It doesn't blast through the air the way a ringtone does. It arrives as a vibration first, a low, steady ripple that your body understands before your brain can label it. You feel it in the mattress, in the soft parts of your chest, in the loose spaces behind your ribs where tension likes to hide. And the cat, because of course, acts like this is completely normal, as if producing a portable calm generator is just another Tuesday night skill, right up there with staring at a blank wall like it's a masterpiece. Purring is one of those facts that sounds simple until you stay with it for a minute. People talk about it like it's just a cute noise, but close up, it's more like an event, a physical pattern, a living metronome. The cat isn't only making a sound, it's shaping the air and the space between you. It's turning quiet into something textured. Here's what makes it so relaxing. Purring sits in a range your body tends to register as comfort, not alarm. The vibration is low, often somewhere around the few dozen hertz neighborhood, sometimes stretching upward, and it's steady, not jagged. Sharp, sudden sounds tell your nervous system to snap awake. A purr tells it the opposite. The rhythm is consistent, and consistency is basically a lullaby ingredient. You don't have to try to relax when a purr is happening. Your body leans into it the way it leans into warm water. If you've ever pressed your hand against a cat's side while it purrs, you know it's not only heard, it's felt. The fur becomes a soft speaker. The whole rib cage turns into a gentle subwoofer. And that's part of the strange magic. Humans are not used to feeling sound as a friendly touch. Most of the time, sound is something that interrupts you. A purr feels like sound behaving itself. The mechanism behind it is surprisingly elegant. Inside the cat's throat, muscles around the voice box can pulse in a controlled way, opening and closing the space as air moves through. It happens on the inhale and on the exhale, which is why the purr seems continuous, like it doesn't have to stop to breathe. There's a kind of built-in timing signal in the cat's nervous system that keeps the pattern steady, like a biological drummer who never gets bored. And because it's not a call, the way a meow is, the purr can stay low and private, meant for close range, meant for the one who's near enough to feel it. It's worth pausing on how intimate that is. A purr is not a billboard. It's not a broadcast to the neighborhood. It's a small circle of sound. You have to be invited into it. You have to be close. And cats don't hand out invitations to their personal bubble like party flyers. Which means if you're hearing it clearly, if you're feeling it, congratulations. You've been accepted into the cat's little nighttime jurisdiction. And yes, there's a practical reason it's built this way. Purring starts early in a cat's life. Kittens can purr when they're very young, while they're still nursing, when their eyes barely understand the world. That matters because nursing is a moment when being quiet is smart. A mother cat and kittens don't benefit from advertising their location to anything that might be hungry. So a soft vibration that can be felt up close, without shouting into the dark, makes a lot of sense. It's like an early language system. I'm here. I'm okay. Keep going. Stay close. It's communication designed for safety. And then, because cats are cats, they never really stop using it. People love to say purring means happiness. Sometimes it does. The cat purrs when it's comfortable, when it's warm, when it's being stroked in that exact way that makes it look like it's melting into itself. But purring also shows up in moments that aren't pure bliss. Cats can purr when they're stressed, when they're in pain, when they're trying to soothe themselves. That's not dark, it's kind of impressive. Imagine having a built-in calming technique so effective you can switch it on even when you're not at your best. Your coping mechanism is a soft engine you can run whenever you need. Meanwhile, humans are out here negotiating with themselves about whether to drink water. So when you hear the purr beside you, you're hearing two things at once: comfort and regulation. The cat is telling you it's okay, and it might also be telling itself the same thing. That makes the whole sound feel ancient, like it predates complicated emotions and long conversations. A purr doesn't argue. It doesn't analyze. It just repeats the message until the body believes it. And your body does believe it. You notice your breathing sinking in a subtle way, not because you're forcing some meditation technique, but because the purr is offering a tempo that feels safe. The vibration is like a hand resting gently on the back of your mind, steady enough to keep your thoughts from sprinting. Your brain, which loves to run laps at night, finally meets something it can't outthink. It can only listen. There's also the slightly hilarious possibility that the cat knows exactly what it's doing to you. Cats are experts in behavior shaping. They don't need training manuals. They conduct little experiments, observe results, and adjust the strategy. A purr is a powerful tool in that toolkit because humans respond to it almost automatically. We get softer. We become more generous. We become the kind of person who will stand up at 2 a.m. to refill a bowl because a creature vibrated near us with confidence. You might think you're in charge of your own decisions. That's adorable. But even that manipulation, if you want to call it that, has a soothing quality because it's predictable. The cat purrs, you relax, the world becomes smaller and safer. It's a relationship built on quiet rituals. And ritual is one of the oldest ways living things signal safety to each other. There's been a lot of curiosity about whether the vibration itself does more than communicate. Some researchers and veterinarians have pointed out that certain vibration frequencies are associated with how bodies respond to mechanical stimulation, how bones maintain density, how tissues might respond to gentle oscillation, how circulation and healing processes could be influenced by calm, rhythmic movement. It's a careful topic because the cat is not a medical device, and nobody should treat it like a pharmacy with whiskers. Still, it's intriguing that purr frequencies often fall in ranges people have studied in other contexts. At minimum, the purr is a stress reducer for the cat and for you, and lowering stress already changes a lot in the body. Heart rate, muscle tension, the way your breathing deepens when it finally stops fighting. And that's the thing you can trust without overpromising. Purring changes the room's emotional physics. It's a signal that the cat is settling into a state where it can spend energy on softness. When a cat purrs, it's not bracing for impact. It's not scanning for catastrophe. It's making a small, repetitive sound that says, "This moment is livable." You can almost hear the logic in it. If the world were dangerous right now, this creature would not be running the comfort engine. That's why the purr lands so well at night. Nighttime is when your mind likes to replay the day's awkward moments, rearrange tomorrow's worries, or produce completely new fears as if it's being paid per panic. The purr interrupts that loop in a way that feels gentle rather than forceful. It doesn't command your attention the way a loud noise does. It simply offers a better thing to focus on. The cat shifts slightly and the purr changes texture. Same rhythm, different tone, because the body is a resonant instrument. The rib cage, the throat, the placement of the head, even the way the cat's chest presses against the surface can alter what you hear. That's why purrs can feel so personal. Two cats can purr with different voices, even if the pattern is similar. It's like each cat has its own signature hum, its own private channel. And because you're so close, you're hearing it the way it's meant to be heard. Not as background noise, but as a companion sound. It's also why recordings of purring rarely hit the same. A speaker can play the sound, but it can't give you the vibration through fur, the warmth, the living breath behind it. Part of what relaxes you is the proof of life right next to you. Steady, present, uncomplicated. Your brain is wired to respond to that. A living creature is calm beside you, and you borrow that calm the way you borrow warmth from a blanket. The cat's eyes might be half-lidded now, that soft, heavy look that makes it seem like the cat is permanently unimpressed by everything you've ever done. Yet the body stays close. That's the cat's version of affection. Not gushy, not dramatic, just proximity plus purring. Cats don't throw confetti when they like you. They simply choose to be near you and act like it was their idea all along. And if you think about how old this relationship is, it gets quietly grand. Humans and cats have been coexisting for a long time, drawn together not by formal domestication the way dogs were, but by mutual convenience and a shared appreciation for stable shelter and reliable snacks. Cats lingered around stored grain because rodents lingered around stored grain. Humans tolerated cats because rodents were a problem. And somewhere in that practical arrangement, something softened. People started living alongside an animal that could be fierce and gentle, independent and affectionate, wild and domestic. And the purr became a kind of cross-species handshake, something that didn't need translation. You can imagine a human thousands of years ago sitting near a doorway, just like this one. Different building, different clothes, same night air, hearing that same steady vibration from a small creature that refused to be owned. The person wouldn't have had the vocabulary for frequency or laryngeal muscles. They wouldn't have needed it. They would have recognized what you recognize. This sound makes the dark feel less lonely. That's the lullaby part. A lullaby isn't defined by lyrics. It's defined by what it does to your nervous system. It slows you down. It repeats. It promises safety without guaranteeing anything. Cats have been making a lullaby-like vibration long before you were here, long before anyone decided to call it cute. The purr continues, and the room feels increasingly sealed off from the day. You might notice how your thoughts start to organize themselves around softer things. Textures, warmth, the sound shape. The sharp edges of worry round off. And the more you listen, the more it becomes obvious that the purr isn't only about the cat. It's also about you being allowed to stop performing for the world. The cat gives one small shift, the kind that would be loud if it were human, but is barely a whisper because it's all controlled muscle and quiet padding. The purr flares slightly, then steadies again. Your body takes that as permission to settle deeper. Breathing lowers. Shoulders sink. The jaw, which held the day like a clenched secret, finally loosens. And there's one more interesting twist. Cats don't just purr when they're lying down in peace. Some cats purr while they're standing, walking, even while they're asking for something. That tells you the purr isn't a single mood. It's a tool. It can mean I'm content. It can mean I'm calming myself. It can mean pay attention to me. It can even mean you and I are connected right now. So keep it that way. Which brings you back to the feeling that started this whole moment. A cat appearing at the doorway. Not loudly, not urgently, just present. The purr is the continuation of that entrance. It's the cat's way of turning the room into a calmer version of itself, like the air has been tuned to a lower frequency. The vibration keeps going, steady as a tide you can't see, and you realize something that's almost funny in its simplicity. The cat treats rest like a serious craft, not as a reward, not as something earned after grinding through the day, as a baseline, as a skill, as a way of living. And once you notice that, it becomes difficult not to wonder what else the cat knows about sleep that you've forgotten. That wondering lands softly in you, and the cat answers it without a speech. The purr keeps rolling, steady and low, and the body beside you begins to sink into its own gravity, like it has decided the night is officially safe enough to become weight. Shoulders loosen, spine unthreads, paws tuck in with that neat, practiced precision that makes you suspect cats have an internal origami coach. The eyelids drop, not as a dramatic goodbye, but as a quiet agreement with darkness. You catch yourself tracking the tiny details because they're the only important thing in a room. Whiskers barely move. Ears stay angled, alert in a lazy way, as if they're listening to the whole building at once. Breathing turns slow and even. In that steady rise and fall, your thoughts stop auditioning for attention. The cat is teaching you the first rule of feline sleep. Rest is not a ceremony. Rest is a skill. Cats don't sleep like you do. Not because they're superior, although they'd absolutely claim that, because their bodies are built for a different job. A cat is engineered for sudden action, followed by long recovery. Reflexes, senses, muscle control, all of it is expensive. Sleep is how they keep the machine tuned. So the cat doesn't treat sleep as one long, fragile event that must be perfect. It treats sleep like a string of energy deposits scattered through the day and night, adding up until the body feels full again. That's why a cat can look perfectly content napping in places that make no sense. A sunbeam the size of a postcard, the corner of a chair, a cardboard box that looks like it could fold under a strong opinion. The cat isn't searching for comfortable the way you define it. It's searching for safe enough plus warm enough plus quiet enough. And once those boxes are checked, the rest just happens. You watch the transition into the first layer of sleep, the dozing stage. The eyes are closed, but the cat isn't fully gone. The ears still pivot a fraction when a distant sound changes. The tail might give one slow flick, like an understudy checking the stage. This is light sleep, a kind of soft surveillance. I'm resting, the posture says, but I'm not reckless. And that's soothing in a sneaky way, because it proves relaxation doesn't have to be absolute to be real. Your mind hears that and loosens a notch. If the cat can hover between waking and sleep and still gain something, maybe your own night doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing performance. Maybe it can arrive in layers. After a while, the vigilance signals fade. The ears stop reacting to every whisper. The tail stills. Breathing becomes more regular, deeper. The muscles around the face smooth out. The cat has slipped into heavier sleep, and it's obvious because the whole body looks settled, like it finally found the exact shape of ease. If the purr is still there, it's quieter now, a thin thread rather than a blanket. This is the nap alchemy. Cats can drop into deeper rest quickly and return to alertness just as quickly. Their brains seem to have a fast elevator between floors. Humans tend to stall in the lobby, pacing through tomorrow. Cats glance around once and decide the room passes inspection, then disappear into sleep like it's the most rational choice in the world. You've heard cats sleep a lot, but the more interesting part is how they structure it. Instead of one big block, they often sleep in multiple episodes. That pattern fits a hunter who needs to be ready when opportunity appears. In a wild setting, being deeply asleep for a long stretch can be risky. Better to nap, wake, scan, nap again. Even in a living room with reliable food and zero predators, that old schedule still hums in the background, like ancient code that never got patched. There's a quiet relief in that thought. You've been trained to treat good sleep like a clean, uninterrupted slab, and anything else feels like failure. The cat ignores that standard and thrives anyway. It collects rest in pieces and remains perfectly confident about it. Your body takes that as permission to loosen its grip on perfection. The cat's timing also makes sense once you notice it. Cats tend to be most lively around dawn and dusk, those in-between hours when light is soft and movement is easier to hide. It's why some cats turn into tiny athletes right as you're trying to wind down, then act like saints when you need to be awake. It's not personal. It's biology with a sense of comedic timing. Their internal clock leans toward twilight, and your internal clock leans toward obligations. Still, that twilight wiring gives cats a special relationship with nighttime. They don't treat darkness like an empty threat. They treat it like a familiar landscape. And when a cat chooses to sleep in the dark, it feels like a quiet vote of confidence in the room itself. You notice the cat's posture again, curled, loafed, or stretched into a long, elegant line that makes you wonder if it's actually part accordion. Those poses aren't random. A tight curl reduces exposed surface area and holds heat close, basically the cat turning itself into a warm knot. Stretching out exposes more body surface, releasing heat when the room is warm. Sleep posture becomes temperature management, which is a big reason cats seem picky about nap locations. They aren't being dramatic. They're running a comfort algorithm. The sunbeam obsession fits here too. Warmth helps muscles release tension. Warmth makes deep rest easier. That's why a cat will track a patch of light across the floor like it's following a sacred schedule, relocating every hour, calm and determined. Heat isn't just luxury. It's part of the sleep setup. As the cat sleeps, you notice small twitches, whiskers trembling, paws flexing, ears flicking as if responding to a sound that doesn't exist in the room. This is the dreamy zone, the moment that makes people whisper it's dreaming, and they're probably right. Like many mammals, cats have sleep phases where the brain becomes more active. You can't know what's playing behind those closed lids, but the themes aren't hard to imagine. Running, pouncing, chasing, the memory of a sudden movement, the feeling of a win, the satisfaction of a perfect leap that doesn't even need a witness. There's something oddly tender about watching a cat dream, because it reminds you sleep isn't a blank void. Sleep is a private world. Even when the body is still, something inside is moving. And your mind, normally so busy constructing worst-case scenarios at night, starts absorbing the cat's approach. The cat doesn't turn bedtime into a courtroom. It doesn't drag up old mistakes for review. It doesn't rehearse tomorrow's stress like a speech. It crosses over because the body is ready and because the room is safe enough. Cats also carry a useful contradiction. They can look completely asleep and still wake with shocking speed. That's why a cat can be motionless, then open its eyes the instant a treat bag crinkles in another room, possibly in another universe. The cat isn't never truly asleep. It's cycling through sleep in a way that keeps some systems on standby. Evolution rewards the animal that can rest without becoming helpless for too long. That idea lands gently in you as well. Your brain already knows how to wake you if something actually matters. It doesn't need your constant supervision to do that job. Most of the time, it can relax into the rhythm, the same way the cat does, resting in cycles, checking the environment, then sinking again. The cat shifts barely. Paw pads flex once, as if the dream has reached its exciting part. Breathing stays calm. The face remains peaceful. Your breathing mirrors it without effort. The room feels smaller in the best way, sealed off from the day's noise. The sharp edges of worry round off, like they're being warmed until they soften. The longer you stay with this, the more obvious it becomes. The cat treats rest as maintenance, not as a reward. Sleep is preparation, the foundation for that effortless grace you've seen 1,000 times. The quiet jump onto a windowsill, the sudden sprint down the hallway, the impossible balance on the back of a couch. The nap isn't laziness. The nap is the craft behind the elegance. And in this moment, with the cat sleeping near you, the craft becomes contagious. Not as a command, not as a technique you have to perform, but as a quiet permission your body accepts. Rest can arrive in pieces. Rest can arrive in layers. Rest can be simple. The cat breathes, the room holds steady, and your mind begins to believe the same calm logic. Nothing needs fixing right this second. Your mind lingers on that last thought. Rest is maintenance. Rest is craft. And it starts noticing the cat's sleeping body with a new kind of respect. Even in sleep, the cat is not sloppy. It's soft, yes, but it's also precise, like a quiet machine that knows its own settings. The fur rises and falls with each breath, a gentle tide you could count if you wanted something simple to hold on to. The paws stay tucked or stretched in that elegant geometry you've been watching, the kind that makes your human joints feel like they were designed by a committee. And then, without warning, one of those tiny dream twitches happens again. A paw flexes, the lips shift just slightly, and the whiskers, those fine white threads, quiver like someone brushed them with invisible fingers. That's when the room changes, because you realize the cat has a second face you don't usually look at. You've probably admired the eyes, the ears, the sleekness of the silhouette. But whiskers are the cat's secret handwriting, and once you start reading it, you can't unsee it. Whiskers aren't decoration. They're not cute little hairs. They're specialized sensors, thick and deeply rooted, wired into the nervous system with a seriousness that feels almost unfair. You have to respect that. If a cat had to file paperwork to justify whiskers, the application would be approved instantly, stamped in triplicate, and framed. Look closely in your mind. The whiskers fan out from the muzzle in careful arcs, not random, not sloppy. Some sit high, some lower, like a layered instrument. There are whiskers above the eyes, too, eyebrow whiskers, and sometimes along the cheeks in a way that makes the face look slightly more alert than it is. Then there are the ones people forget. Whiskers on the back of the front legs, near the wrist area, like the cat decided to hide extra sensors in a place you'd never think to check. The cat is basically walking around with a distributed sensing network, and you've been calling it fluffy. What makes whiskers special is what's happening under the skin. Each whisker sits in a follicle that's more like a high-security socket than a normal hair root. There's a rich supply of nerves. There's blood flow. There's a structure designed to pick up tiny deflections, micro-movements caused by contact, by air currents, by vibration. The whisker itself is a lever. The follicle is the receptor. Together, they turn the world into data. That sounds clinical, but it feels poetic when you imagine how the cat experiences it. You see darkness as absence. The cat sees darkness as a different kind of information you can't access as easily. A hallway at night, to you, is just a dim rectangle full of guesswork. To the cat, it's a map of textures and currents and distances measured by whiskers like a gentle radar. A whisker can detect a light touch, obviously. If the cat presses its face near a wall, whiskers brush and report back. But the more intriguing part is how whiskers can sense movement in air. When a cat moves through a space, the air shifts around objects. There are tiny currents, subtle changes in pressure. Whiskers can pick up those changes, which helps the cat judge what's nearby, even without direct contact. It's not supernatural. It's physics plus sensitive biology. But it feels like magic because you don't have anything quite like it. You can test this idea in your imagination right now. Picture the cat in a dark room you know well. There's a chair slightly pulled out, a table edge, a doorway half closed. You would navigate with memory and caution, and you'd probably bump something because you're a human and humans are basically tall toddlers in the dark. The cat moves like it owns the blueprint. It angles the head, just so. The whiskers sweep forward. The body glides through gaps with a confidence that looks effortless. The cat isn't guessing the space. It's reading it. There's a famous, calming little detail about whiskers that fits perfectly into this nighttime scene. The whiskers can help a cat judge whether it can fit through an opening. Not in a cartoon way, in a real, practical way. Whiskers are often roughly as wide as the cat's body at its widest point. So if the whiskers clear, the body likely clears. It's not a perfect measuring tape. Cats can still try to squeeze into ridiculous places because confidence is part of the species, but it's a useful baseline. The cat approaches an opening, the whiskers make first contact with the edges, and the nervous system gets an instant report. Too tight, just right, or I can do it if I commit. And committing is something cats do with disturbing conviction. The cat beside you stirs again in sleep, and the whiskers flare forward for a second, like the dream is asking a question. You notice how those whiskers don't just sit there. They have posture. They have expression. When a cat is curious, whiskers often angle forward, reaching into the scene. When the cat is relaxed, the whiskers settle more to the sides. When the cat is defensive or overstimulated, whiskers can pull back closer to the face. It's another layer of communication, quieter than a meow, subtler than a tail flick. If you learn to read it, you start feeling like you're in on a private language. And that sense of private language is deeply soothing. Your mind loves mysteries that don't demand adrenaline. A cat gives you mysteries that feel safe to solve, like a puzzle you can hold gently in your hands. Whiskers are part of that. Visible proof that the cat is not just a warm creature, but a finely tuned one. There's also a truth here that makes the world feel calmer. The cat's confidence in darkness isn't reckless. It's informed. The whiskers reduce uncertainty, and uncertainty is what turns the brain loud. When you don't know what's around you, your mind ramps up, scanning, predicting, worrying. The cat's whiskers keep that scanning grounded in real data. The cat doesn't have to invent horror stories about the shadow in the corner. It can simply read the shadow's edges. That's a pretty good life skill. You might wonder why whiskers look so sturdy compared to regular fur. It's because they are sturdier. They're thicker, more rigid, better at transmitting motion down into that sensitive follicle. But they're not strong in a careless way. They're also protected. The cat can control them with muscles at the base, spreading them, pulling them back, adjusting their angle. Whiskers are not passive sensors. They're active instruments. A cat can choose how to gather information in a moment. Imagine what that feels like from the inside. Instead of blindly stepping forward, the cat can lean into the air with its whiskers, sampling the space like a slow hand reaching out. It's a kind of quiet courage, built on precision rather than bravado. And you can feel your own body respond to that. Your shoulders ease again because the scene is full of competence. Competence calms you. A creature is near you that doesn't panic in the dark. Your nervous system notices and takes notes. The eyebrow whiskers add another layer of elegance. They sit above the eyes like subtle antennae, and they help protect the face by sensing things near the eyes, branches, edges, anything the cat might bump into during a quick movement. You've seen cats slip through narrow spaces without scraping their faces, and this is part of why. The cat is not just hoping its eyes will be fine. It's sensing the margins. Those wrist whiskers on the front legs, often called carpal whiskers, are even more mysterious if you've never thought about them. They're positioned where they could help with close-range awareness during movement or when the cat is handling something with its paws. Picture a cat pinning a toy or reaching into a tight spot. That limb becomes a sensing tool, not just a grabbing tool. The cat doesn't only touch the world. It reads the world through touch before the touch fully happens. That's a quiet kind of grandeur. An animal built to move through complexity with grace, armed with sensors that make chaos feel navigable. And because this is nighttime, you can't help but notice how whiskers relate to the cat's mood in your room. When the cat is calm, whiskers rest. When the cat is alert, whiskers angle forward, gathering. When the cat is slightly annoyed, say when someone touches the whiskers too much, There's a subtle tension in them, a pulling back, a sense of please stop poking my sensory equipment like it's a toy. This matters because whiskers are sensitive enough that constant contact can become uncomfortable. Some cats don't like their whiskers brushing against the sides of a narrow bowl, for example, because it's too much stimulation, like someone tapping your fingertips repeatedly when you're trying to eat. That kind of discomfort even has a name people sometimes use: whisker fatigue. Whether you call it that or not, the idea is simple and real. Whiskers are designed to detect, and too much detecting can be irritating. So your cat's preferences aren't always drama. Sometimes it's sensory overload. Sometimes the cat is just trying to live in a world where its face isn't being constantly pinged by signals. And that's oddly relatable. You spend all day being pinged to, emails, messages, alerts, little flashes demanding your attention. The cat is doing the same, just with physics. There's a gentle warning tucked inside this. Whiskers aren't something to trim for looks. They grow back, yes, but while they're shortened, the cat loses a chunk of its spatial awareness. It's like taking away the edges of the map at night. The world becomes less predictable. And when predictability drops, stress rises. You can feel why that matters without needing a lecture. A cat's confidence is partly built on what it can sense. Protecting that sensing is part of protecting the cat's calm. And the cat's calm, right here beside you, has become part of your calm. The purr might have faded to a whisper, the breathing stays steady, and you're still watching whiskers, these fine arcs that hold so much information. You realize something else. Whiskers make a cat feel bigger than it is. Not physically, but perceptually. The cat's awareness extends beyond its fur. It can feel space around its face before its face arrives there. It can anticipate. That anticipation reduces surprise, and surprise is what jolts you awake. The cat, in other words, is built to avoid unnecessary jolts. You can almost sense your own brain copying the strategy. Instead of jumping to the next worry, it stays with what's here: breath, fur, the soft curve of a whisker catching a sliver of light. The room feels like a quiet cathedral of small details, and the cat is the priest of precision, asleep and unbothered, trusting its senses enough to let go. Another tiny twitch runs through the cat's face. Whiskers tremble and settle again. It's like watching grass move in a breeze you can't feel. It keeps your attention without tiring it, because it's subtle. It's just enough mystery to keep your mind from wandering into sharper places. And as you lie there, you start to understand why cats have held human attention for so long. It's not only cuteness. It's not only companionship. It's the feeling that there's a hidden system running behind what you see. Whiskers reading the air, the body tuned to quiet, the mind drifting into sleep with confidence. A cat is a small creature that carries a whole universe of design. And the more you notice, the more the night feels less empty and more inhabited. Not in a spooky way, in a reassuring way. Like the darkness isn't a void. It's a space full of gentle signals you're finally calm enough to perceive. That sense of the dark being filled with gentle signals doesn't leave you. It sharpens. You've been watching whiskers read the air like fine ink, and it changes how you look at everything else on the cat's face. Because the whiskers are only one part of the equipment. The cat is sleeping, yes, but it's also still listening in a way you can't quite match, like it has a second set of ears hidden behind the visible ones. The visible ones are already doing enough on their own. Even in low light, you can make out their shape: upright triangles, soft at the edges, and somehow always expressive. You think you know what a cat's ears do: hear things. But that's like saying a telescope is for looking at stuff. Technically true, emotionally lazy. A cat's ears don't just sit there receiving sound. They aim. You've seen it 100 times without naming it. The ear swivels toward noise, one ear turning first, the other following, like two separate satellites negotiating where the signal is strongest. Sometimes they move independently, one ear focused on a sound behind, the other on something to the side, as if the cat is running two channels at once. Humans hear like a person standing in a room. Cats hear like a control center. And there's something strangely reassuring about that tonight. You're in a quiet space, you're trying to rest, and beside you is an animal that can handle the job of listening to the building, the street, the world outside the window. It's not that you need a guard. It's that you can stop doing the guarding. The ear movement is possible because cats have an impressive set of muscles controlling the outer ear, more than you have any right to expect from an animal that also enjoys sleeping in a laundry basket. Those muscles allow the pinna, the visible ear flap, to rotate and tilt, changing the way sound waves funnel into the ear canal. The pinna acts like a dish, gathering and directing sound. When it turns, it's literally optimizing intake, like adjusting an antenna to improve reception. That's why the cat can locate sounds with unsettling accuracy. A small rustle, a faint click, the whisper of a moth tapping glass. Your ears might register something happened. The cat's ears register something happened there. It's not mystical, it's geometry and timing. When a sound reaches one ear slightly before the other, and at a slightly different intensity, the brain uses those differences to triangulate the source. Humans do this too, but cats do it with a finesse that feels almost unfair because their ears can physically reposition to improve the signal before the brain even finishes the calculation. It's like having headphones you can aim at the world. You can picture it. The room is quiet, and a sound happens in the hallway, maybe the soft settling of wood or the faint brush of air from a vent. The cat's ear turns without the rest of the body moving. No drama, no flinch, just a precise adjustment. It's the kind of movement that tells you the cat is never truly disconnected from its environment. It's simply relaxed inside it. That relaxed alertness is part of why cats look so composed. The cat doesn't need to tense its whole body to listen. It can outsource the listening to the ears. The rest can stay loose, warm, ready for sleep. Imagine how different your nights would feel if your body didn't have to brace every time your brain had a thought. The cat does it naturally. Of course it does. And the range of what the cat can hear is, frankly, rude. Cats are particularly sensitive to higher frequency sounds, those tiny, squeaky, ultrasonic-like noises that many small animals produce. That sensitivity makes sense if your survival depends on detecting the faintest scurry in grass or the soft peep of something hidden. You might not hear it at all. The cat hears it and files it under noted. This creates a secret nighttime world running parallel to yours. While you're hearing the broad strokes, traffic hum, a neighbor's door, the occasional distant bark, the cat is hearing the fine print, tiny shifts, small clicks, the whispery movements of things you never see. The night becomes more detailed for the cat than it is for you. Not brighter, necessarily, but richer with information. That richness is oddly calming to imagine. It suggests the dark isn't empty. It's full of subtle life, mostly harmless, mostly routine. Your brain tends to fear what it can't map. The cat's senses map it for you indirectly. Even if you can't perceive what the cat perceives, you can perceive the cat's confidence. And confidence is contagious. You can almost feel the cat's ears like little weather vanes tuned to the air. Sometimes they twitch in sleep, catching a sound and dismissing it. Sometimes they shift and stay, as if something outside is worth monitoring. But the cat doesn't get up. It doesn't panic. That tells you the sound didn't trigger the real threat system. It's more like a notification the cat read and swiped away. You wish you could do that with your own thoughts. There's a softer detail, too. A cat's ear shape isn't just about looking elegant. It affects sound processing. The pinna's curves, ridges, and funneling properties help shape incoming sound waves. It's part of how the cat can pick out specific noises from a messy environment. What's sometimes called an ability to separate signal from noise. In human terms, it's like being at a party and still hearing your name across the room. In cat terms, it's like being half asleep and still noticing a treat bag being opened 3 rooms away with the stealth of a thief. And yes, the cat will pretend it didn't notice until it decides the timing is right. Because a cat always wants you to believe it's above being motivated by snacks. It's not. It's simply committed to the brand. Ears also carry mood in a way that's almost theatrical. Forward ears often mean interest or focus. Slightly to the side can mean relaxed attention. Flattened back can signal fear, irritation, or defensiveness. You've probably read those cues without realizing it, reacting instinctively to the cat's emotional posture. Tonight, the ears are relaxed, shifting occasionally like gentle antennas in a quiet storm. That posture alone is a comfort signal. The environment is safe enough for a cat to rest with its defenses down. Cats also have those small ear tufts and inner ear hairs that look decorative, but they can help protect the ear canal from debris and might slightly influence how sound enters. The ear canal itself is deep and shaped in a way that supports the cat's sensitivity. It's all built to maximize information intake, but with a kind of elegance that makes you forget you're looking at equipment. And here's where the mystery deepens, because the cat's ears do more than hear. They help maintain balance. Inside the ear, the vestibular system provides the brain with information about head position and movement. That system is a big part of why cats can walk along narrow ledges, land with uncanny precision, and adjust midair in a way that makes gravity look negotiable. The ears aren't just listening to the world, they're helping the body know where it is inside the world. That ties back to the quiet confidence in the dark. The cat doesn't only hear the room. It knows where its body is within the room, moment to moment. It knows how far it can stretch, how to turn without bumping, how to jump without misjudging. Whiskers help. Vision helps. But the ear's internal balance machinery is like a backstage crew, keeping the whole performance smooth. No wonder cats look like they're always in control. They're getting better data than you are. You might remember those moments when a cat is startled by a loud noise. Something sudden, sharp. The cat flinches, sure, but often it recovers quickly, ears turning to analyze, eyes scanning, body ready, but not spiraling. That quick recovery isn't only temperament. It's sensory clarity. The cat can identify and locate the sound fast, which means it can decide what to do fast. Uncertainty keeps animals anxious. Information gives them options. Options create calm. And your mind, watching this, begins to quiet itself in the same pattern. Your brain is noisy when it doesn't know what's happening. It runs simulations. It prepares for every scenario. But in a room where a cat is calmly listening, you get a strange feeling that some of that job can be delegated. The cat has ears designed to catch the world before it catches you. It's not that the cat is protecting you. It's that the cat is modeling a different relationship to sound. As sound happens, the ears turn, the brain evaluates, the body either responds or doesn't. No drama, no spidering. That's the cadence you're borrowing tonight. The cat shifts, perhaps into a slightly different sleep position, and the ears twitch as the head settles. The movement is quiet and precise, like the cat is adjusting to a frequency you can't hear. You start noticing that the cat's ear movements are often minimal, never exaggerated. Small changes, small corrections. The cat doesn't swing the ears wildly unless something really demands it. That restraint is part of why it feels soothing to watch. The cat is sensitive, but not frantic. Alert, but not overwhelmed. That balance, sensitivity without panic, is something your modern life tries to teach you with apps and breathing exercises and mindfulness reminders that arrive as push notifications, which is almost comedic if you think about it. The cat has been doing it the whole time without a single motivational quote. There's also a curious fact about how cats handle sound over distance. Higher frequencies don't travel as far as lower ones, and they can be blocked more easily by walls and furniture. Yet cats still pick up tiny high-frequency cues because their hearing is tuned to them, and because their ears can aim and amplify. This makes their nighttime awareness feel close range and intimate. They're not necessarily hearing everything. They're hearing what matters nearby with clarity. That's a helpful concept for you, too. You don't need to monitor the whole universe. You only need enough awareness to feel safe in your immediate space. Anything beyond it can stay blurry. The cat's ears offer that immediate space awareness. And because you can see the ears respond, you can relax into the knowledge that if something truly unusual happened, the cat would notice. Not because cats are heroes, but because cats are built for noticing. You can feel the grandeur of that design in the quiet. An animal shaped by countless generations to read the softest details, to interpret the night, to rest in it instead of fighting it. The cat has turned the darkness into a familiar place, and your body is starting to follow. There's a little gentle sarcasm in the way this all lands, because the cat will do all this. Listen like a professional, balance like an acrobat, sense like a scientist, then choose to sit on a piece of paper you were using for something important and look at you as if you're the one lacking direction. It's hard to be intimidated by perfection when it also knocks pens off tables for fun. But maybe that's part of the comfort. The cat is magnificent, yes, but it's also simple. It listens. It rests. It responds only when it needs to. It doesn't carry extra noise. The ears settle again, relaxed but ready. The room feels steady, held together by a quiet intelligence that doesn't demand attention. Your thoughts slow to match that steadiness. The cat's breathing stays even. The night outside the window continues its soft, distant movement. And in the space between those sounds, the space the cat can hear into, and you can only imagine, you begin to sense a deeper kind of calm. Not silence, but a gentle order, the feeling that the world is being monitored in the background while you're allowed to let go. The room holds that quiet order for a while, like the night has been sorted into gentle layers and stacked neatly out of the way. The cat's ears settle into a relaxed angle, still capable of snapping toward the smallest sound, but choosing not to. That choice feels important. It tells you the cat has taken attendance for the environment and found nothing urgent enough to deserve a full response. And then, as if the hearing part of the world has been handled, something else opens, something softer, slower, almost ceremonial. The cat's eyes shift. It's subtle at first. Not a dramatic stare, not the kind of look that makes you wonder what you did wrong. Just a quiet turn of attention, like the cat is checking whether you're still here in the way that matters. You feel it the way you feel someone enter a room without speaking. Your mind becomes alert, but not tense. Curious, not defensive. Cats do a fascinating thing with eye contact. In human culture, looking directly at someone can mean respect, interest, challenge, romance, authority, basically everything, depending on the day. In cat culture, a hard, unblinking stare is often not friendly. It could be a threat display, a form of pressure, a silent push. A cat that wants to avoid conflict will often break eye contact, turn the head slightly, or soften the gaze. So when a cat looks at you and doesn't look away, but also doesn't sharpen into a stare, you're seeing something rare, controlled attention with zero hostility. It's like the cat is saying, "I see you," without adding, "and I'm about to ruin your evening." That's where the slow blink lives. The slow blink is one of the most relaxing social signals you'll ever witness, and it's almost comically easy to miss because it's the opposite of dramatic. The cat narrows the eyes, not in suspicion, but in softness. The lids lower with a deliberate pace. There's a tiny pause, like a quiet sigh made with eyelashes, and then the eyes open again, calm as ever. It looks like the cat is sleepy, and sometimes it is. But the slow blink is more than drowsiness. It's trust behavior. It's a signal that the cat feels safe enough to stop monitoring you as a potential problem. It's a small moment of vulnerability because closing your eyes, even partially, is the purest way to say, "I'm not bracing for impact." If you think about it, that's an enormous statement from an animal built to be cautious. A cat's nervous system is tuned for sudden movement. A cat survives by noticing details, by reacting quickly, by staying one step ahead of surprise. So when a cat willingly lowers its eyelids in your presence, it's not just tired. It's communicating something like, "I trust the space you create." This is why the slow blink feels like being chosen. You don't need a medal. You don't need a speech. You get a slow blink, and your brain goes quiet in a satisfied way, as if it just received a stamp of approval from the most selective committee on Earth. The funniest part is how little effort the cat puts into it. The cat isn't trying to be inspiring. It isn't trying to teach you emotional intelligence. It's just being honest with its body language. And your body recognizes honesty in a way words can't match. Your shoulders soften again. Your face relaxes. Your own eyes get heavy. Not because you're forcing sleep, but because your system is mirroring the cat's signal. It's a tiny treaty negotiated without language. You might have noticed that cats rarely hold a wide-eyed, unblinking gaze when they're fully relaxed. Big, round eyes are for alertness, hunting, playing, tracking movement, or deciding whether the vacuum cleaner is an apex predator. Relaxed cats often have softer eyes, a slower blink rate, a calmer gaze. The eyelids sit lower. The pupils may narrow if there's light, widen if it's dark, but the overall expression becomes unpressured. That unpressured gaze is part of what makes cats feel so compatible with nighttime. Night is when you don't want to be evaluated. You don't want intensity. You want presence without demands. A slow blink is presence without demands. It's connection that doesn't require performance. And it's not just a one-way signal. Cats are capable of reading you too. Your face is full of information. Micro tension around the eyes, jaw clench, the restless way humans tend to hold their thoughts in their forehead. The cat doesn't need to understand your schedule to sense your state. It senses speed. It senses agitation. It senses whether your movements and breathing are calm or irregular. When you soften, the cat often softens back, not out of kindness, but because the environment has become easier to trust. So when you return the slow blink, when you let your eyelids lower gently and lift again at an unhurried pace, you're speaking in a way the cat can actually understand. This is where it gets almost ridiculous because the technique is so simple, and yet it works so often it feels like cheating. You don't need to stare. You don't need to call the cat's name a dozen times like you're trying to summon a coworker who's ignoring you. You just meet the cat's gaze softly, relax the muscles around your eyes, and blink slowly. The message is clear. No threat, no pressure, no rush. The cat's response might be immediate. Another slow blink, a tiny head tilt, a softening of the whiskers, those sensors that have already been reading the air like a map. Sometimes the cat will look away after the blink, which isn't rejection, it's politeness. In cat terms, breaking eye contact can mean we're good. No tension here. Humans often misread that. They think it looked away, so it doesn't care. Meanwhile, the cat is basically saying, I trust you enough to stop monitoring you. It's a compliment disguised as indifference, which is extremely on-brand. You can feel how this changes the atmosphere. The room, which already felt quiet under the cat's listening ears, becomes even softer under the cat's trusting eyes. Sound is no longer the primary channel. Vision becomes the gentle thread connecting you. The cat doesn't need to move. It doesn't need to climb into your lap like a dramatic movie scene. It simply exchanges a signal with you across a small distance, and your body relaxes as if you've been granted permission to stop being vigilant. A slow blink also carries a kind of ancient logic. In the animal world, direct staring often signals aggression or dominance. Predator stare, challenger stare. A soft gaze and a blink can signal the opposite. I'm not hunting you. I'm not competing with you. I'm sharing the space. That's why the slow blink is sometimes called a cat kiss. Not because cats are secretly writing romance novels in their heads, but because it's a calm, affectionate gesture in their language. It's warmth without invasion. It's closeness without crowding. And your nervous system loves that kind of closeness. There's a second layer to the slow blink that makes it even more calming. It slows you down physically. To blink slowly, you have to relax the muscles around your eyes. Those muscles are tied into the broader facial tension you carry when you're stressed. So a slow blink isn't only a message outward. It's also a signal inward. The act itself tells your body to loosen. Your face stops bracing. Your brow smooths. Your breathing steadies because your body tends to synchronize relaxation across systems. In other words, the slow blink is a tiny, built-in reset button that doesn't feel like work. You can see why cats use it. Cats are constantly managing stimulation. They're absorbing sounds you can't hear, scents you can't detect, air currents you don't notice. Their nervous systems are rich, sensitive, tuned. A slow blink is a way of lowering intensity without leaving the scene. It's a little curtain drawn halfway, still aware but not overwhelmed. And if you've had a long day, that is exactly what your brain wants too: awareness without overwhelm. The cat might give another slow blink, longer this time, and then the eyes remain half-lidded, relaxed. The ears keep their lazy watch, the whiskers settle, and the body stays warm and still. The purr might return as a faint vibration, like the cat is layering comforts, sound, posture, gaze, stacking them until the room becomes a soft fortress. A quiet thought passes through you. Humans spend so much time trying to communicate with words that we forget how powerful the body signals are. Cats never forgot. They build an entire social vocabulary out of posture, movement, ear angle, tail position, whisker spread, and the softness of a blink. They can say, "I trust you," without saying anything. And the more you sit with that, the more magnificent it feels. Not in a grand, loud way. In a quiet, evolutionary way. This small creature beside you is running an ancient operating system designed to keep it safe, and yet it's choosing signals of peace. It's choosing to make the night gentler, and it's doing it with the lightest movement of eyelids. You might notice how different that feels from human reassurance. Humans often reassure by filling the air, talking, explaining, promising, trying to fix. Cats reassure by reducing. Less movement, less tension, less noise, less pressure. The reassurance is the absence of alarm. Your thoughts begin to follow that pattern. You stop trying to solve tomorrow. You stop trying to rewrite today. You just exist in the quiet exchange, where the cat's slow blink has told you everything you needed to know. The room is safe enough for softness. The cat turns its head slightly and looks away, not dismissive, just satisfied. The eyes close again, gently, as if sleep is a place it can enter whenever it wants. That confidence doesn't feel arrogant. It feels instructive. Sleep isn't something that has to be wrestled. Sleep can be approached like a calm agreement, a treaty you sign with your body. The ears remain angled, listening in the background. The whiskers rest, still capable of reading the air if they need to. The cat's whole system stays poised between awareness and rest, and the slow blink becomes the bridge between the two, an elegant little piece of communication that says, without words, that you can lower your guard. And once you notice how much peace can fit inside a single blink, it becomes hard not to wonder what other quiet engineering is tucked into the cat's body. What other small, sensory miracles are happening right beside you, waiting to be noticed. Your attention drops from the softness of eyelids to the quiet architecture underneath everything, because the cat's peace is never only facial. It's built into the way the body meets the world, and it starts at the point where fur and floor negotiate with each other. The pause. You can almost feel the difference before you even picture it clearly. A human foot is loud by default. Even when you try to be quiet, there's a heavy finality to each step, a blunt here, "I am," stamped into the ground. A cat's step is the opposite. It's a suggestion. It's a gentle placement. It's as if the floor is a sensitive instrument and the cat refuses to play a harsh note. The paws are why. A cat's paw pads aren't just soft because softness is cute. They're soft because softness is engineering. Those thick pads are made to absorb impact, reduce noise, and protect bones and joints through repeated jumps and landings. Every time a cat springs onto a windowsill with casual confidence, the pads are doing the unglamorous work, cushioning, distributing force, keeping the landing controlled. That cushioning has a very specific feel when you imagine it up close. The pads aren't squishy like a sponge. They're resilient, firm enough to support the body, yielding enough to dampen vibration. Like a perfectly tuned shock absorber in a vehicle that never complains and never needs a repair appointment. The cat lands, and the pad compresses slightly, eating the sound before it becomes sound. That's why a cat can move through a room at night and make you question whether it teleported. It didn't. It walked. You just didn't get the audio evidence. And then there's the detail everybody secretly loves: toe beans. The little rounded pads on each toe that look like nature accidentally made a candy mold and then decided, sure, that'll do. They're adorable, yes, but they're also part of the grip system. The individual toe pads help the cat adjust traction with tiny shifts, allowing it to balance on surfaces that would make you lose dignity immediately. Cats don't step with a flat-footed slap. They walk on their toes, digitigrade, like many animals built for speed and stealth. That toe-walking posture keeps the body poised, spring-loaded, ready to move. It also changes the way weight is distributed. Less flattening contact, more control placement. The cat can place each toe with intent, the way a pianist places fingers on keys. Quiet, precise, almost disrespectfully elegant. If you've ever watched a cat cross a hardwood floor, you've seen the rhythm. There's a slight roll through the paw, a careful transfer of weight, and then the paw lifts without dragging. Dragging is noisy. Dragging is inefficient. The cat avoids it like it avoids instructions. There's a reason cats can feel like they float, even when they're just walking to the food bowl, as if it's a long, meaningful journey. Their gait is built for stealth. Predators benefit from not announcing themselves, and cats are predators in miniature, even when their greatest hunt is a dust bunny under the couch. The pads also have something else going on that feels quietly intimate. They can sweat, not like humans sweat, with dramatic effort and emotional betrayal. Cats don't have sweat glands all over their bodies in the same way. One of the places they do have them is in the paw pads. It's subtle, but it matters. When a cat is stressed or overheated, those pads can get slightly damp. It's one reason you might see tiny paw prints on a smooth surface after an anxious moment. The cat isn't being theatrical. The body is regulating itself in the smallest way it can. There's something strangely comforting about that. Proof that even this calm creature has a system for releasing tension. Not with words, not with overthinking, but with physiology. A little moisture, a little cooling, a quiet adjustment. Paws also carry scent. When a cat scratches or kneads, it's not only about the claws. The pads can help leave scent signals behind, marking a place as familiar as theirs. That's one reason cats seem so committed to kneading blankets like they're working overtime at a bakery. It's soothing for them. Yes, an old kitten behavior tied to nursing and comfort, but it can also be a way of stamping a safe zone into the world. A safe zone is a powerful concept at night. Your brain relaxes when it feels like the space around you is claimed by calm rather than threatened by chaos. A cat, through paws alone, can turn a spot into a familiar territory, warm, scented, routine. The room becomes less like an unknown and more like a home. The claws deserve their own quiet respect, too, because claws are part of the silent walking magic. Cat claws retract when they aren't needed, tucked away, so the cat can move without clicking on the floor like a person in hard shoes who enjoys attention. When claws are retracted, the cat walks primarily on the pads, which are naturally quieter. When traction is needed, climbing, gripping, catching, the claws can extend. It's an on-demand tool system. That retractable feature is also why cats can be surprisingly gentle with their steps until they decide not to be, which is usually when you least expect it. One moment, velvet. Next moment, a blur shooting up a curtain because a fly offended the room. The cat's body is always ready for that switch. The paw pads cushion the landing. The claws provide purchase. The legs act like springs. The whole mechanism resets instantly. And yet, in this quiet room, none of that power is used for chaos. The paws are resting. Maybe one paw is tucked under the chest. The classic, I'm comfortable and I'd like you to know it posture. Maybe the paws are folded in a neat loaf, toe beans hidden like a secret. Maybe one paw stretches slightly forward, relaxed, as if the cat is reaching into comfort without effort. The stillness makes you more aware of how much information paws gather even when they're not moving. Cats have sensitive paws. They can feel texture and vibration through them. A slight tremor in the floor can register. A surface that feels unstable can be evaluated instantly. It's part of how cats decide where they trust their weight. They don't just see the floor, they test it. That testing is quiet. A small tap, a light press, a tiny shift of toe beans against surface. Your mind finds it absorbing because it's so subtle and deliberate. It's another reminder that cats don't rush unless they mean to. They measure, they choose, they commit. This is one of those facts that turns into a small mystery if you stay with it. How can a creature be both so soft and so capable? Paws are one answer. Soft pads don't make a cat weak. They make it controlled. Softness and strength aren't opposites here. They're partners. The softness protects the machinery. The strength uses it when needed. If you've ever heard a cat jump down from a high place and land with almost no sound, you've witnessed the pads doing their job in collaboration with the legs. Cats bend their joints on landing, absorbing energy like a spring compressing. The pads add another layer of dampening. It's a multi-stage impact system. You, on the other hand, land like you're trying to convince the floor you exist. No offense, you're doing your best. And because the pads dampen impact, the cat can repeat this behavior across a lifetime with less strain than you'd expect. It doesn't mean cats are indestructible. Far from it. But it does mean their bodies are built with efficiency in mind. Efficiency is restful. Wasted motion creates noise, and noise creates tension. The cat avoids both. There's also the sensory storytelling in the pad's color. Those beans can be pink, black, mottled, or a mix, often matching the cat's coat pattern in a way that feels like a private design choice. It's a tiny detail, but at night, tiny details become the main event. Your mind likes focusing on something small and harmless. It's a quiet way of turning attention away from heavier thoughts. The cat might flex its toes once in sleep, a slow curl and release, like the paws are remembering what they can do. Claws may tip forward and retract again without sound. It's the gentlest proof of readiness. Even resting, the cat remains capable. That capability makes the calm feel earned rather than fragile. And there's a funny twist to how cats use their paws with you. A paw placed lightly on your arm or a leg can feel like a deliberate choice, almost a punctuation mark. It's not gripping. It's not pushing. It's contact without demand, similar to the slow blink, translated into touch. The cat doesn't have to climb on you to create connection. It can reach out with one soft paw and the message is clear. You're included. Even kneading has a softness that feels ancient. The paws press rhythmically, alternating like a slow drumbeat. The pressure is usually gentle, sometimes accidentally sharp if claws get involved, because cats occasionally forget they are equipped like tiny ninjas. But the pattern itself is soothing. It's repetitive. It's predictable. It's another one of those rhythms the nervous system can settle into without trying. Repetition is restful. That's why a purr calms. That's why a slow blink relaxes. That's why kneading can feel like a quiet massage for your attention, not just your blanket. You start to see how all these features connect. The whiskers read the space. The ears monitor the world. The eyes communicate peace. The paws make movement silent and touch gentle. Every system reinforces the same overall effect. The cat can exist in the night without disturbing it. And the night, in return, feels less like a void and more like a soft territory where nothing needs to be forced. You can stop trying to control every thought because the room itself feels controlled. Not by you, by an animal that is built to move quietly and choose carefully. The paws are still now, tucked and warm. The toe beans are hidden again, like the cat is saving them for later, which is a very cat decision. The breathing stays slow. The ears remain in that relaxed angle. The eyes are closed. The whole body is settled into a posture that says, without language, that you're safe enough to rest in the same space. And it's hard to ignore what this does to you. Your own muscles loosen further, as if your body has been waiting for permission to stop holding itself up against the day. The cat gives that permission by existing with such quiet competence. The paws, those soft pads designed for silent walking, have turned the room into a place where silence isn't empty. It's padded, it's gentle, it's livable. That padded silence doesn't stay empty for long, because cats rarely stay completely still for too long unless they're deep in sleep or performing the ancient art of pretending not to hear you. At some point, the body beside you makes a small shift, barely a whisper of movement, and you sense a change in intention. The room is still safe. The air is still soft. But the cat has decided it's time for one of its most underrated rituals, grooming. It begins without ceremony. The head dips. The tongue appears for a second, and the first lick lands with quiet precision, like a tiny metronome tapping the same beat the purr used earlier. You've probably seen grooming 1,000 times and filed it under normal cat stuff. Tonight it feels different because you're watching with slower eyes. The more you pay attention, the more grooming starts looking less like maintenance and more like meditation, an entire calm philosophy expressed through repetitive motion and warm routine. The tongue itself is part of the magic. It isn't smooth. It's textured with small, backward-facing barbs called papillae, made of keratin, the same tough material found in claws. If you've ever been licked by a cat, you already know the sensation. Not painful, just surprisingly scratchy, like very fine sandpaper. Those barbs are designed to catch loose fur, lift debris, and distribute saliva down to the skin. It's a tool built into the mouth, and the cat uses it like a professional who has never once watched a tutorial because the skill came preloaded. The sound of grooming is soft but specific. That quiet rasp, the brief pause, the next rasp, steady as a slow tide. It's the kind of sound that doesn't demand attention but holds it gently. Your brain loves that. Repetition is a sedative when it's predictable and safe. A purr is repetition. Kneading is repetition. Grooming is repetition with purpose. And purpose is comforting because it suggests order. Cats don't groom randomly. There's an internal map, a sequence the body seems to know, moving from one area to the next with the logic of someone tidying a room they care about. A few licks on the chest, a turn of the head to the shoulder, the foreleg lifted like a dancer's slow pose. The cat licks the paw and then uses it to wash the face, dragging the damp paw over the muzzle and around the eyes in careful strokes. That face-washing moment has a strange elegance. The cat isn't frantic. It's not scrubbing like it's trying to erase a mistake. It's slow, deliberate, and almost solemn. You can't help reading emotion into it, because humans are built to do that, but what you're really witnessing is regulation, physical and mental. Grooming keeps fur in shape, sure. It also regulates temperature, distributes scent, reduces parasites and debris. And, maybe most importantly for this moment, it calms the nervous system through repetitive controlled motion. You can feel why it works. The cat's world is intense. Whiskers collecting air currents, ears catching high-frequency details, eyes reading motion in low light. That's a lot of input. Grooming is a way of returning to the body, focusing on what can be controlled, and smoothing down the edges of stimulation. It's the cat's version of lowering the volume. There's a social layer to grooming too, and it quietly makes the room feel more intimate. Cats often groom after something changes. After they eat, after they play, after a startling noise, after an interaction. It's not always about being dirty. Sometimes it's a reset, a way of saying, that happened. I'm fine. You've seen the cat get startled, jump, then immediately sit and groom as if nothing happened, like it's too classy to admit surprise. It looks like denial. It's actually self-soothing, and it's kind of brilliant. The cat pauses as if checking progress, then resumes. Lick, lick, lick. The rhythm stays steady. The movements stay economical. The paws, those quiet engineers, come back into the ritual again as tools. The cat wets the paw, rubs behind the ear, smooths along the cheek, then repeats. You can almost see the cat drawing invisible lines of order over its own face, like it's restoring symmetry to the world. And then there's scent. Cats live in a scent universe you can barely imagine. They don't just see a room, they smell its history. They smell what passed through, what brushed against what, where something rested, who was anxious, who was calm. Grooming is one of the main ways cats manage their own scent profile. Saliva carries scent. Fur holds scent. When a cat grooms, it's not only cleaning, it's editing its own signature. That matters for a predator that benefits from being subtle. Smelling strongly like cat can be useful in a home. Territory, familiarity, comfort. Smelling strongly in the wild might advertise your location. Grooming helps balance this. It keeps the coat in good condition and can reduce strong odors. It's also a way of making the body feel like itself, which is deeply comforting. Humans do a version of this too. Showering after a long day, changing clothes, washing hands a little too long when thoughts won't settle. We just don't look as graceful doing it. You watch the cat reach a flank and groom in long strokes. The fur shifts and realigns, and the whole coat starts to look smoother, like it's been combed by invisible hands. Those tongue barbs act like a brush, catching loose hair. That's one reason cats can reduce shedding around the home when their grooming is healthy, because they're collecting loose hair themselves. Of course, they swallow some of it, and then you get the famous side quest called hairballs because no elegant system is allowed to be perfect. Even cat design comes with a small comedic flaw, like the universe didn't want them getting too smug. Still, the overall effect is calming. Grooming is order. Grooming is control. Grooming is a quiet promise that everything can be smoothed. The cat pauses again, and you notice how the ears angle slightly, catching something far away. A tiny sound outside. The cat registers it and chooses not to react. The grooming continues. That choice feels like a lesson. Awareness doesn't have to interrupt calm. The cat can keep the ritual going while still monitoring the background. You want that skill. Your thoughts interrupt you constantly, pulling you out of rest as if they're doing you a favor. The cat's brain seems more selective. Not important. It decides and returns to the steady rhythm. If you listen closely, grooming has its own soundscape. The rasp of tongue, the soft exhale between licks, the faint shift of body weight, the quiet flex of toe beans as the cat balances, shifting posture to reach a new spot. It's all tiny, controlled, and satisfying in the way a well-organized desk can be satisfying. Not exciting, not flashy, just clean. And grooming is also flexibility on display, which adds to the gentle grandeur. Cats can bend and twist with a fluidity that feels like a physics experiment. The spine curves. The head reaches places that should be impossible. The back leg lifts, and the cat calmly grooms an area that would require you to write a formal apology to your lower back just for attempting it. The cat doesn't strain. It just goes there. The body was built for this. That flexibility isn't only a party trick. It's functional. A flexible spine helps cats run and jump. It helps them land. It helps them balance. Grooming keeps the muscles and joints moving, too. Small stretches embedded in the ritual. It's maintenance and mobility folded into one slow routine. The cat switches to a different grooming method that always looks strangely ceremonial. Licking a paw repeatedly, then wiping it over the face like it's applying invisible skincare. It's careful around the eyes, which is important because cats don't want to get saliva and debris in sensitive places. That's why the paw becomes a tool. Damp, controlled, safe. You can see intelligence in it, not the kind that writes essays, but the kind that solves physical problems elegantly. The face wiping repeats, a few strokes, then a pause, then more. The repetition is almost hypnotic. If you've ever watched someone slowly brush their hair or fold cloth in a steady rhythm, you know the effect. The mind quiets because the body is doing something repetitive and purposeful. The cat is doing the same thing, and your brain is syncing to it like it did with the purr. There's a social dimension to grooming that makes this even more interesting. Cats sometimes groom each other. It's called allogrooming, and it's a bonding behavior. One cat licks another's head or neck, places that are hard to reach, reinforcing social connection. In a way, grooming is both self-care and social language. It's how cats say, "You're part of my safe circle." And even when the cat is grooming itself beside you, it still feels like a social act in your presence. Cats are careful about when they groom. Grooming requires relaxation. It requires the cat to stop scanning constantly and focus inward. A cat that feels unsafe tends to stay tense, ready to flee. A cat that grooms near you is demonstrating trust in the environment you share. It's the same vibe as the slow blink, translated into behavior. The cat is comfortable enough to turn attention away from the world and toward itself. You can feel why that lands in you like a warm stone in your chest. Being trusted by a cat isn't loud, but it's deep. The cat doesn't hand out comfort signals easily. It does them when they're true. The grooming shifts to the shoulder again, and the cat's tongue works through fur in short strokes, then longer ones. It's not mindless. It's targeted. Cats can detect tangles and focus on them, using the tongue like a comb to separate and smooth. That's part of why a healthy cat's coat often looks so sleek. Grooming distributes natural oils along the fur, keeping it conditioned and insulating. It's hair care with a built-in tool, and the cat is extremely committed to the routine. You might notice your own breathing has become slower, deeper, almost matching the pace of the licks. The room feels like it's running on softer time. The cat's ritual doesn't rush, and your mind, which has been sprinting all day, begins to accept the slower tempo. The cat pauses, sits more upright, and for a moment you can see the whole figure in the dim light. Ears relaxed, whiskers settled, posture calm. The grooming has smoothed the fur, but it's also smoothed the mood. The cat looks slightly more settled than before, like it just tightened the strings on its own instrument. And there's a gentle mystery in that. The cat doesn't ask the world to calm down. It doesn't negotiate with noise. It doesn't bargain with stress. It performs a ritual, small, repetitive, physical, and the nervous system follows. The cat is always showing you that calm isn't always a thought. Sometimes it's a behavior. The cat lowers its head again and resumes, and you stay with the rhythm because it's easy to stay. It doesn't tax you. It doesn't ask you to process anything heavy. It offers you a simple, living pattern to lean on. A soft rasp, a pause, another rasp. The kind of quiet order that makes the night feel less like something to survive and more like something to inhabit. The grooming slows, then stops in the way a tide stops, without a clear moment you can point to, only a gradual easing of motion until the room is still again. The cat sits for a beat, posture upright but soft, as if checking whether the coat feels right in the dark. The ears hold their relaxed angle. The whiskers rest. The whole body gives off that quiet satisfaction of someone who just finished resetting the world to a tolerable level of neatness. Then the cat chooses a shape. It isn't random. You can feel that even without touching anything. Cats don't collapse in a sleep the way people do when they're exhausted. They arrange themselves. They fold and stack and coil like a living geometry problem that always solves itself. The body becomes a message. How safe the room feels, how warm it is, how much the cat wants to watch the world while resting, how much it's willing to let go. The first shape is the loaf, and it's almost funny how iconic it is. The cat draws in its paws, tucks them neatly under the chest, and settles with a compact elegance that looks like it was designed by someone who hates clutter. From the outside, it can look like the cat misplaced its legs entirely. No feet, no toes, no obvious limbs, just a smooth oval of fur with a head and a calm gaze, like a warm stone with opinions. The loaf is comfort geometry at its most efficient. By tucking paws under, the cat conserves heat. Those paw pads, silent little engineers you've already met, are also surfaces that lose warmth. Pull them in, keep them against the body, reduce exposed area. It's insulation behavior dressed up as a posture. But the loaf is also a readiness statement. When paws are tucked under, the cat can still spring into motion fast. It's resting without fully committing to vulnerability. The body stays compact, the center of gravity stable, the muscles lightly engaged. It's the cat version of sitting in a chair with your coat still on because you're relaxed but not trying to get stuck in a long conversation. You can tell when a loaf is a true, I am safe loaf versus a, I'm resting but don't test me loaf. In the safe version, the shoulders drop, the eyelids soften, the breathing gets deep. In the cautious version, the body remains tighter, the head stays higher, the ears track more. Same shape, different energy. Cats are excellent at that, making two things look identical while meaning completely different things. They do it with faces, too. They do it with silence. It's their favorite hobby besides knocking objects off tables to study gravity. The cat beside you might loaf for a while, eyes half-lidded, letting the quiet thicken. The grooming has already tuned the body down. The purr has already given the room a baseline hum. The loaf is the next layer, a physical decision to reduce the world into something manageable. Then there's the curl, the classic ball of cat. This is when the body bends inward, paws tucked close, spine curved, tail often wrapped around, and sometimes the nose tucked toward the belly or tail as if the cat is hiding its face in its own warmth. The curl feels like a little fortress. It's warmth and protection in one gesture, the cat becoming its own shelter. There's a reason that nose tuck feels so intimate. The nose is delicate. The face is sensitive. Tucking it in a fur isn't just cozy, it's protective. Cats do this when they want to preserve heat and reduce exposure. It can also be a way to dampen sensory input. Less air on the face, less movement across whiskers, fewer tiny drafts to process. The cat is closing the loop, literally turning inward. The curled shape also lowers the cat's profile. It makes the body smaller. In the wild, making yourself small and protected can be safer. Even in a bedroom with no threats, the posture still carries that ancient logic. It's a quiet reminder that cats are domestic, but not entirely domesticated in spirit. Their bodies still remember old rules, and that memory gives their rest a kind of grandeur. A small creature carrying the echoes of survival, choosing softness anyway. Sometimes the cat doesn't curl fully. It becomes a half moon instead. One flank pressed to the surface, legs tucked in, but not completely hidden. That half curl can mean the room is warm enough that a tight ball isn't necessary, or safe enough that full lockdown isn't needed. It's a compromised posture, a diplomatic agreement between comfort and awareness. And then there's the stretch out, the long cat posture, the one that makes you think the cat has doubled in size and is pretending it didn't. The body extends, legs out, spine long, sometimes with a little twist that exposes the belly. That belly exposure is the part people misread. They think the cat wants belly rubs. Sometimes it does. Often it doesn't. Often it's just cooling off and relaxing, letting heat escape. The belly has less fur density in many cats, and exposing it can help regulate temperature. The real message of the belly exposure isn't touch me. It's I feel safe enough to be open. That's a big statement in cat language because the belly is vulnerable. A cat that shows its belly is not always inviting contact, but it is revealing trust in the environment. It's saying the room doesn't feel like a place where it needs to keep armor on. You can sense that when the cat stretches and settles and stays there, still breathing slow. The ears remain calm. The whiskers rest. The cat doesn't flinch at small noises. It trusts the space to hold. It trusts you in that space, whether it admits it or not. There are other shapes too, each with their own quiet logic. The Sphinx pose, front paws out, chest lifted, body relaxed but ready, looks like a statue because it is essentially the cat as a watchful ornament. It's a posture that says, I'm resting but I'm not offline. It's the cat's version of dozing with one eye on the door. The side sleep pose, fully sprawled on the side, is deeper surrender. The legs can be loose, the head can rest on the surface, the back can curve slightly. It reads like a creature letting gravity win. If you see a cat sleeping like that, you're seeing a cat that feels safe enough to be clumsy. And cats do not choose clumsy lightly. They're too proud. Then there's the upside down, twisted pose, the one that makes you wonder if the cat skeleton is more suggestion than structure. This posture can be about cooling, about comfort, about stretching the spine. It can also be about pure feline audacity, taking up space in the most dramatic way possible while acting like it's completely normal. The cat's message in that posture is basically, I'm comfortable and I would like the room to accommodate my comfort. Your mind keeps returning to the same soothing thread. Every posture is a decision. The cat is not trapped in restlessness. The cat selects the most efficient shape for the moment's needs. Warmth, curl, watchfulness, sphinx, deep trust, side sleep, cooling, belly exposure, quick naps, loaf. And because the cat's decisions are so clear, your own body starts making calmer decisions too. Your shoulders sink, your breath deepens. You stop shifting around like you're trying to find a perfect position you'll never find. The cat is showing you that perfect isn't required. The body adapts. The shape changes. Rest is something you can approach in phases. You might notice how often the cat changes posture over the course of the night. A loaf becomes a curl becomes a side sleep becomes a stretch, then back to loaf. These transitions are not failures. They're adjustments. Cats do not treat repositioning as a sign that sleep is broken. They treat it as a normal part of staying comfortable. Their sleep is dynamic. Their rest is responsive. That alone is a relief if you've ever stared at the ceiling thinking, if I move, I'll ruin it. The cat moves and does not ruin anything. The cat remains calm. There's a quiet science behind why cats can fold into these shapes so elegantly. The spine is highly flexible. The shoulder blades aren't locked into a rigid collarbone structure the way human shoulders are. Cats have a floating collarbone that allows the shoulders to move more freely, contributing to their ability to squeeze and twist. That's why the loaf looks so smooth and compact, why the curl looks so complete, why the stretch looks so long. The skeleton is built for it. The muscles support it. The whole design is meant to turn the body into whatever the moment requires. Even the tail plays a role in the geometry. The tail can wrap around the body in a curl, acting like a scarf. It can drape loosely in side sleep. It can tuck close in a cautious loaf. It can flick once and still, like punctuation, before the body settles again. The tail isn't just decoration. It's balance, warmth, expression, and sometimes an extra layer of protection. You start to see how each posture manages exposure. In a curl, vital organs are protected, limbs are hidden, face is tucked. In a loaf, paws are hidden, body is compact, head stays accessible for quick response. In a stretch, everything is open, which implies trust and temperature comfort. Cats are constantly managing the trade-off between vulnerability and comfort, and they do it so smoothly you rarely notice it as a strategy. Tonight you cannot notice. The room, meanwhile, becomes a quiet stage for this slow choreography. The cat shifts, finds a new arrangement, then stops. The stillness returns immediately, like a blanket pulled back into place. That quick return is part of what makes cats feel soothing. They don't fidget the way humans do when they're mentally unsettled. They move with purpose, then rest fully. And because you've been paying attention to ears and whiskers and paws, you can read more about the cat's state from these shapes. A loaf with relaxed ears and soft eyelids means easy calm. A curl with the nose tucked deeply means strong comfort, sometimes a need for warmth. A side sleep with loose limbs can mean the cat is deeply at ease. A sphinx pose with ears turning slightly can mean the cat is dozing, but tracking background details. This reading doesn't feel like analysis. It feels like being included, like you've been allowed to understand a secret. And that sense of understanding is one of the most calming things your mind can hold, because it replaces vague uncertainty with gentle clarity. The cat is fine. The room is fine. The night is doing what nights do. There's a mild irony in how much humans crave control, while cats demonstrate control by letting go. The cat controls its environment through selective attention and body decisions. It doesn't control by forcing. It controls by arranging itself into the most stable, comfortable form available. That's quiet mastery. The cat settles again, maybe back into a loaf, maybe into a curl, and the breathing evens out. The posture stays. The room feels warmer just because a warm creature has chosen to be still in it. You can almost feel the cat's body heat radiating, not in a dramatic way, but as a subtle shift in the air near the surface. It makes your own body remember something basic. Warmth equals safety. Compactness equals comfort. Predictable rhythms equal calm. Your nervous system doesn't need a speech to understand that. It needs evidence. The cat's chosen shape is evidence. The eyes close fully. The ears stay relaxed. The whiskers rest. The paws disappear under fur. The cat becomes a quiet sculpture of rest, a small creature folded into the night like it has always belonged there. And you feel, in your own muscles, the strange permission that follows. You can fold too, in whatever way makes you comfortable, without needing to justify it. The cat stays folded in its chosen shape, a quiet sculpture that seems too settled to be real, and your attention drifts back to the face. Even with the eyes closed, the face holds a promise, like there's a whole hidden room behind those lids that you can't enter, but you can still sense. Cats carry night in their eyes. You've seen it. The way a cat slips down a dim hallway with the confidence of someone who owns the building. You fumble for a light switch, and the cat looks mildly offended, as if you just ruined a perfectly good atmosphere. The truth is less magical than it looks, and somehow more impressive. Cat eyes are built to make the most of small amounts of light. If the cat opens its eyes for a moment, the pupils tell you the first secret. A cat's pupil can narrow into a thin vertical slit in bright light, and then spread wide in dim light, almost swallowing the iris. That slit shape is not just a style choice. It's a precise way to control light, like a camera aperture that can get very narrow without losing the ability to widen quickly. Bright room? Narrow for protection and sharpness. Dark room? Wide to drink in whatever light exists. You've probably noticed how dramatic the change can be. One minute the cat has tiny lined pupils, the next it has those wide, dark pools that make the face look suddenly ancient and serious. It isn't mood, it's optics. The eye is constantly adjusting, so the cat doesn't have to. Then there's the detail you've seen in photos, the glow. At certain angles, a cat's eyes can shine back, green, gold, sometimes icy, like tiny mirrors catching a flashlight. That shine comes from a reflective layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum. The idea is beautifully simple. Light that slips past the retina without being used gets bounced back through it for a second pass. More chances to detect something in low light. That extra efficiency is one reason cats see better than humans in dim conditions. The trade-off is that the reflective layer can reduce fine sharpness compared with an eye designed for crisp daytime detail. Cats are not optimized for reading tiny print under bright office lighting while pretending they enjoy it. They're optimized for noticing movement at dawn and dusk, when the world is quiet and small things think they can hide. And cats really do prioritize movement. You watch a cat lock onto a tiny speck you barely see and track it with perfect focus, like the speck owes the cat money. That focus comes from what's packed into the retina. Cats have a lot of rod cells, the photoreceptors that work especially well in low light and are excellent at detecting motion. Cones handle richer color and fine detail in brighter light. More rods means better dim light performance, and it matches what you see in real life. The cat moving with composed certainty while you be negotiating with furniture. Color fits into this too, and it's oddly relaxing once you stop expecting the cat to experience the world exactly like you do. Cats can see color, but their color range is more muted. They're stronger in blues and greens and less sensitive to reds. Their world is not a dull gray movie. It's just a different palette. If your job is to detect shape and motion, you don't need every shade. You need the right ones. The more you think about it, the more you realize a cat never depends on only one sense anyway. Vision is part of a blended system. Whiskers map the space up close. Ears gather tiny sounds in the background. Paws read vibration and texture. The eyes stitch those signals into a usable scene. The cat doesn't gamble everything on sight the way humans often do. It triangulates. That's why the cat can look so unbothered in darkness. You lie there, and your mind wants to invent reasons to stay alert, because humans love inventing reasons to stay alert. The cat doesn't need to invent. It gathers, interprets, decides. If the cat's eyes open again and blink, you might catch another strange little feature, a thin, pale film that slides across the eye from the inner corner. That's the third eyelid, the nictitating membrane. It helps protect the eye and keep it moist without fully closing. It's a built-in windshield wiper and a security screen in one. Catch it mid-blink, and it looks uncanny, like the cat briefly turned into a creature from a different planet. The cat, of course, acts like you're the weird one for noticing. There's something soothing about that kind of practical maintenance. Cats don't apologize for their biology. If the eye needs moisture, the eye gets moisture. If the coat needs smoothing, grooming happens. If the room feels safe, the cat slow blinks at you and dares you to interpret it as anything less than a compliment. The way cats hold their gaze is another quiet wonder. When a cat is awake and focused, the eyes can become almost still, like the whole face is anchored. That stillness isn't laziness, it's concentration. Cats can wait without burning energy, allowing movement to come to them. Waiting is strategy. At home, it's the same strategy applied to smaller targets. Dust motes, shadows, the imaginary bug that probably isn't imaginary to the cat. Patience changes the feeling of time. Your mind tends to sprint ahead, jumping to outcomes. The cat stays in observation. It doesn't rush to conclusions. It watches, decides, acts only when action is worth the energy. That energy economy is woven through everything you've noticed tonight. Purring as regulation, sleep in layers, whiskers as mapping, ears as monitoring, paws as silent engineering, grooming as meditation, posture as warmth and safety logic. Vision is the same story in a different channel. Low-light competence that turns the dark into something readable. A small clarification makes the whole thing feel even more grounded. Cats don't see in total darkness. They're not supernatural. They still need some light to work with. Moonlight, street light, the faint glow from a doorway, the soft spill of screen you forgot to dim. In that low light, they do astonishingly well. In absolute darkness, they're like any other animal. They rely more on sound, scent, and touch. That honesty is comforting. The cat's calm isn't fantasy. It's adaptation. And adaptation can look like magic when you're tired. The cat's eyes are closed again, and that matters. Fully closing the eyes is a strong signal in cat language. It means the cat feels safe enough to withdraw visually. The ears may keep light watch, but the eyes are off duty. A cautious animal choosing to go off duty in your room changes the atmosphere. The air feels heavier in a good way, as if the room itself has decided to stop buzzing. You remember the slow blink from earlier, that eyelid treaty. The slow blink says, "I'm not a threat." Closed eyes say something deeper. "I'm comfortable here." It isn't indifference. It's trust. Trust from a cat has a particular weight because cats do not hand it out like party favors. They don't give speeches about it. They simply lower their guard and share space with you. That's intimacy without performance. A faint flutter runs through the eyelids, dream movement, not wakefulness, and you imagine the hidden work behind the lids. The reflective layer ready for low light, the rods built for motion, the pupil designed to widen and narrow like a precise instrument. Even while the cat sleeps, the design remains present in the room like a quiet reassurance you didn't ask for, but definitely needed. The longer you hold this image, the more the dark changes shape in your mind. It stops being a blank absence and becomes a different kind of environment, one that can be understood. The cat understands it well enough to rest inside it. The cat chooses to close its eyes, fold into warmth, and allow the night to exist without a fight. That choice lands softly in you. Darkness doesn't have to be a problem to solve. It could be a place that holds you while you soften, the same way it holds a small, well-equipped creature who treats the night like a familiar hallway and not a test. The cat's eyes stay closed, and the darkness feels less like a blank space and more like a room with texture, something you can live inside instead of something you have to beat. That's when you notice how much of the night a cat experiences without seeing it all. Because the cat doesn't only read darkness with eyes, it reads it with the nose. You can't see scent, which is probably why humans underestimate it so confidently. You move through a room believing you understand it, because you can see the furniture and the walls, and then a cat walks in and immediately knows what happened in that room hours ago. Where someone sat, which bag was opened, whether a stranger passed through, whether you were stressed earlier, whether another animal has been near the window. The cat doesn't guess these things. It samples them. The most relaxing part about this is the cat's attitude toward it. The cat doesn't panic about the information. It doesn't spiral. It doesn't build a dramatic story about a smell and then refuse to sleep. It simply collects data and makes a decision. Safe, not safe, interesting, boring, mine, not mine. Then it settles again like nothing happened. That calm competence changes the way your own brain treats the unknown. If the cat can handle an entire invisible layer of reality without falling apart, you can probably handle a quiet room without narrating your worries into a full-length film. A cat's nose is more sensitive than you might think, and the real story gets even richer when you remember cats have more than one way to smell. There's the normal smelling you understand, sniffing air through the nostrils, processing it through scent receptors. Then there's the cat's special upgrade, a secondary scent processing system called the vomeronasal organ, often referred to as Jacobson's organ. You've seen the behavior tied to it, even if you never named it. The cat smells something, then opens its mouth slightly and holds this odd expression, like it just tasted a confusing opinion. That face is called the flamen response. It's not disgust, it's concentration. The cat is drawing scent molecules into that secondary organ for deeper analysis, often related to pheromones and chemical signals that carry social information. So yes, sometimes your cat makes a weird face because it's basically running a chemical lab in its own head. This is where the night becomes even more layered. While you're lying there focusing on breath and quiet, the cat is receiving a constant stream of invisible messages. Scent trails are like quiet footprints. Every object holds a faint chemical story. Clothes smell like where you've been. The air near the door smells like outside. The window smells like the street. Even the couch has a memory. The cat can read those memories without effort, the way you glance at a familiar room and instantly know if something was moved. Scent is also one of the reasons cats feel so attached to certain spots. A blanket, a corner of a couch, a particular chair. These places aren't just comfortable. They're familiar in the deepest sense. Familiar scent tells the cat, this is safe territory. It reduces uncertainty. And as you've noticed all night, reducing uncertainty is the fastest path to calm. Cats don't only interpret scents, they place them. That part is surprisingly gentle when you see it clearly. The cat rubs its cheek against the edge of a table, the leg of a chair, your hand, your ankle. It looks like affection because it often is, but it's also communication. Cats have scent glands around the face, particularly around the cheeks and forehead, and when they rub, they're leaving a tiny chemical signature. They're marking the object or the person as part of the familiar world. It's not ownership in a dramatic sense. It's a way of making the environment predictable. A cat surrounded by its own scent is a cat surrounded by reassurance. This is why headbutting, what people call bunting, feels so oddly meaningful. The cat presses the side of its face or forehead into you with quiet confidence, like it's stamping you with membership in the safe circle. It's affection, yes. It's also a small ritual that says, you belong in my map. The map is important. The map is calming. The cat is always building it. And it isn't only cheeks and forehead. Cats have scent glands in other places too, around the mouth, near the tail base, and in the paws. Remember the paw pads that can leave faint prints? They can leave scent too. Scratching a post isn't just claw maintenance. It's a sign. It's visual and chemical. A message that says, I was here and I'm comfortable enough to announce it. That can sound territorial, which scares some people into thinking cats are constantly plotting real estate claims. The calmer interpretation is simpler. Cats are creatures who relax when their environment is known. Scent marking is a way of turning unknown into known. It's like labeling the world in a language only the cat can read. Humans do this with clutter and calendars. Cats do it with chemistry. The sweetest part is that when a cat rubs on you, the cat is also mixing scents. Its scent with yours. It creates a shared scent profile, a family smell. That's part of why cats can feel so bonded to their people, even when they act like they're too cool for bonding. They're quietly building a shared sensory identity. That shared identity is one reason cats can be so comforting at night. You might not register the smell of your own space consciously, but your body does. Familiar scent can lower stress. It signals safety. The cat's presence strengthens that familiarity because the cat carries the scent of home, its own, plus the one it's helped cultivate across the space. If you've ever noticed your cat sniffing you intensely when you come home, you've witnessed the cat updating its map. New smells mean new information. The cat isn't judging you for smelling like a restaurant. It's auditing the universe. Where have you been? Who did you meet? Why do you smell like other places? What did you bring back into my controlled environment? It's not personal. It's data hygiene. And cats are obsessive about data hygiene. That obsession doesn't feel annoying in the middle of the night. It feels protective, almost ceremonial. Imagine the cat as a quiet librarian of scents, storing invisible books in every corner of the room. Each sniff is a page turned. Each cheek rub is a label applied. Each scratch is a bookmark. You start to notice how careful cats are with smelling. They don't inhale like a vacuum. They take short sniffs, sampling, pausing, sampling again. That sampling is strategic. It prevents sensory overload and helps the brain isolate details. A long inhalation could blur things together. Short sniffs keep the information crisp. Even their breathing habits can become part of the calm. Small sniffs, slow exhale, stillness. A cat doesn't rush its senses. It measures. Sometimes a cat will raise its head slightly and sniff the air as if scent is drifting past like a weather change. It is. Air carries information. You can't see it, but you can imagine it. A soft current moving through a room, carrying the faintest trace of outside night, warm fabric, old wood, clean soap, and that particular smell that is simply this home. A cat can identify those layers like you identify instruments in a song. That ability can make cats look psychic. They walk to the door before anyone knocks. They appear at the kitchen before you open anything. They locate a hidden treat like they watched you hide it. Sometimes it's habit. Sometimes it's timing. And sometimes it's scent, tiny cues you don't notice, like the smell of food residue on your hands or the faint shift in air from someone approaching the house. Again, the calming part is how normal it is to the cat. The cat doesn't celebrate its own perception. It just lives in it, quietly capable, like it has always belonged to a world you only partially perceive. That partial perception is not a failure. It's a relief. You don't need to experience everything. You only need enough information to feel safe. The cat fills in the rest of the night's details in the background, like a silent systems engineer keeping the environment stable while you soften. If you've ever wondered why cats can be picky about litter boxes, food bowls, or certain fabrics, scent is often the hidden factor. A bowl that smells like detergent might be unpleasant. A litter box that holds strong chemical signals can feel like a chaotic message board. A new piece of furniture might smell unfamiliar and therefore not integrated into the map. cats are trying to maintain a readable environment. When scents clash, the environment becomes noisy, not to your ears, but to the cat's nose. And cats hate noise in any form. They may create noise for fun, but they prefer to live in a world they can interpret cleanly. This is why familiar routines matter to cats. Feeding at consistent times, sleeping in the same places, grooming rituals. Those habits build a stable sensory world. Stability is sedating. It tells the nervous system there's no need to stay on high alert. You can feel your own body responding to that idea. It's the same reason familiar nighttime sounds, like a fan hum, can be calming. Predictable input becomes the soundtrack of safety. The cat's scent rituals contribute to that soundtrack. Even when you can't smell it, you can sense the behavior. The cheek rub, the slow sniff, the calm pause, the decision to lie down again. It's like watching someone check the locks without anxiety. Just a quiet confirmation that everything is as it should be. The cat might stand and move a few steps, not loud, not hurried, those paws placing themselves gently. It pauses near a corner, lowers its head, sniffs. It might rub its cheek against the edge of something, leaving that invisible signature. It might do one small scratch with a paw, quick, quiet, symbolic. Then it returns, folds into warmth again, as if those actions were necessary to complete the night setup. You realize how much of cat calm comes from this ability to shape the environment without force. Cats don't rearrange furniture. They rearrange meaning. They leave scent signals that turn a room into a familiar territory. They groom to reset the body. They choose postures that match the temperature and safety level. They slow blink to communicate peace. They purr to regulate. They listen in the background with ears that can aim. And underneath it all, they keep reading the invisible world of scent, quietly updating the map. It's easy to see how people ended up loving cats. Not because cats are always friendly. They're not. Not because cats are always predictable. They're definitely not. But because cats carry a kind of quiet mastery that makes the world feel less chaotic. They don't defeat the night. They interpret it, label it, and rest inside it with confidence. Your thoughts soften further as you hold that image. The cat as a calm chemist, a silent cartographer, mapping the room with its nose while you map it with your breath. The dark no longer feels empty. It feels organized, gently categorized, and safe enough to let go. That invisible map the cat keeps building with scent doesn't just describe space. It describes time. You start noticing it because cats behave like they own a private clock, one that ticks softly under the floorboards and only they can hear. A cat can be asleep in the deepest, most convincing way, fur warm and still, and then somehow rise exactly when something predictable is about to happen. Food time, the moment you usually stand up, the exact minute you normally brush your teeth. It's easy to call it coincidence until it happens too many times, and then you start suspecting your cat is running a calendar app behind its eyes. It's less mysterious than it feels, and also more impressive. Cats are creatures of rhythm. Their bodies are built around cycles. Rest and alertness, hunger and grooming, stillness and sudden movement. The world that feels chaotic to you often feels patterned to them, because they pay attention to patterns the way you pay attention to your phone screen. And unlike your phone screen, the patterns they notice actually help them survive. Cats are often described as crepuscular, meaning they're naturally most active around dawn and dusk. That's when many of their small prey targets will be most active too, and the cat's sensory system, those low-light eyes, those listening ears, those mapping whiskers, fits that schedule perfectly. The night isn't just night to a cat. It's a timeline with peaks and dips, moments when the world is louder or quieter, safer or more interesting. You feel that in your own home, if you've ever been awakened by the sudden phenomenon known as cat has decided it is time. That moment often happens in the early hours, when the house is quiet and your brain is trying to stay asleep, and the cat is filled with a crisp, ancient energy that seems wildly inappropriate in a bedroom. The cat doesn't do it to be cruel. It does it because the internal clock is nudging it toward activity, and silence makes every sensation sharper. This is where cats become strangely relatable. Humans also have internal rhythms. You can fight them, override them, caffeinate them into submission, but they still exist. Cats just don't pretend they don't exist. They honor the rhythm like it's a law, and then they expect you to respect it too, which is honestly a bold request from someone who sleeps 18 hours a day. The calming part is what happens when you stop treating cat behavior as random and start seeing it as patterned. Your mind relaxes when it can predict. Predictability is the opposite of anxiety. Anxiety says, anything could happen. Pattern says, things tend to happen like this. The cat's routines create that pattern. Cats sleep in many short bouts rather than one long, uninterrupted stretch. Their sleep is polyphasic, built for frequent naps that allow quick transitions to alertness. That fits a predator's life. A predator doesn't want to be unconscious for 8 straight hours in a world where prey and danger both exist. It wants rest in small parcels, enough to restore energy with frequent checks of the environment. You've seen the checks. The cat sleeps, then wakes briefly, eyes half open, ears turning, taking a quick inventory of the room, then returns to sleep. It's not insomnia. It's maintenance. It's the same logic you saw in grooming. Small resets to keep the system stable. And cats do reach deeper sleep too. They can enter REM sleep, the phase associated with dreaming, where you might see twitching paws, whiskers trembling, a slight jaw movement, that soft ripple in the face that makes the sleeping cat look like it's chasing something in another world. REM sleep is not unique to cats, but it feels unique when you witness it because the cat's whole waking life already looks like something out of a quiet myth. A dreaming cat feels like the myth has an inner layer. The thought that cats dream is one of those soft mysteries that doesn't demand an answer. What does a cat dream about? Hunting? Climbing? Social moments. The warm memory of a sunbeam on a windowsill? You'll never know for sure, and that's what makes it soothing. The brain likes mysteries it doesn't have to solve. A cat's internal clock doesn't only run on light and dark. It runs on association. Cats learn routines fast, and they anchor those routines to cues you barely notice. The sound of keys, the particular creak of a chair when you shift, the way your breathing changes when you're about to get up, the tiny light from your phone screen that appears at a certain time. Even your scent changes slightly across the day. Food, soap, outside air, stress hormones, subtle cues that can tell the cat what phase of the day you're in. So when your cat seems to predict you, it's often doing what it always does, collecting signals, comparing them to memory, and making a decision. Memory matters here more than people give cats credit for. Cats have strong associative memory. They learn what leads to what. If a certain sound leads to food, they remember. If a certain cabinet opening leads to treats, they remember. If a certain time leads to your attention, they remember. They may act indifferent when you're trying to teach them something you care about, but if the lesson benefits them, the storage space in that brain becomes infinite. This is where the gentle sarcasm fits naturally, because cats are the only creatures who can treat your entire household schedule as their personal service timetable and still act like they're doing you a favor by participating in it. They don't just learn your habits. They incorporate your habits into their map of the world, as if you're a moving furniture piece that occasionally opens the can. The result, though, is a strangely calming structure. The cat's life is built on small rituals that repeat. Wake, stretch, groom, sniff, check the room, rest, repeat. Even play has its window. Even affection has its timing. Cats are not chaotic by design. They become chaotic when the environment feels chaotic. In a stable home, cats often become the physical symbol of stability. That stability is a kind of quiet grandeur. The cat doesn't talk about routines. It embodies them. It teaches you that the nervous system calms down when it knows what comes next. You can feel that lesson in the cat's relationship with dawn. As the night moves toward morning, light shifts almost invisibly at first, and the cat's body knows. The pupils adjust. The ears pick up different background sounds, birds, distant engines, building noises waking up. The air smells slightly different too, cooler or warmer depending on the season, carrying new outside information through cracks and vents. The cat's scent map updates. The time map updates. And the cat becomes more alert, not because it's anxious, but because this is one of its natural peaks. Dawn is when small animals would move, when the world transitions. In a home, the cat might translate that ancient peak into, the human will get up soon. This is relevant to my interests. It's amusing, but it's also comforting. The cat isn't fighting the change. It rides it. The same thing happens at dusk. Light fades, your home becomes quieter, and the cat's senses take the lead again. The cat might become playful. It might patrol the perimeter, hallway, window, door, as if checking boundaries. It might sit near you more often, because evening is when social contact can feel safest. Or it might do something deeply cat-like. Act like it's been ignored all day, even if you've spoken to it 20 times, because emotional reality is flexible in a cat's universe. There's another rhythm people often call zoom eyes, those sudden bursts of energy that look like chaos, but often have predictable triggers. A cat may sprint, leap, skid, and rocket down the hallway like it just remembered an embarrassing memory and needs to physically outrun it. The triggers can include pin-up energy, a digestive shift after eating, the evening activity peak, or simply a moment when the nervous system says, movement would feel good right now. Zoom eyes can sound disruptive, but underneath, they're regulation. They're a reset of energy, a discharge. After zoom eyes, many cats settle more deeply. It's the same principle as grooming, just louder. A brief, contained storm that clears the air. And once you recognize it as regulation rather than randomness, it becomes less irritating in the abstract. In practice, at 3:07 a.m., you might still have opinions. But even those opinions soften when you remember the cat is not trying to punish you. It's executing a rhythm that has been part of its species longer than your entire concept of bedtime. That perspective changes the feel of the night. The cat is not a source of unpredictability. It's a living clock with instincts and habits, a system that keeps cycling through comfort behaviors. You might notice how cats use anchors in the home, specific places that match specific times. A sunny windowsill becomes a late morning station. A couch corner becomes an afternoon rest point. The bed becomes a night territory. The cat moves between these stations the way you move between tasks, except the cat looks more at peace doing it. Stations are part of how cats create stability. Each station holds familiar scent, familiar textures, familiar sounds. The cat doesn't only sleep anywhere. It sleeps in places that match its internal conditions. Warmth needs, safety needs, social needs, observation needs. A high perch for monitoring. A tucked corner for deep rest. A spot near you for connection. A spot near the door for patrol. So the cat's routine is actually a choreography of safety. And you can feel your own body benefiting from that choreography. The more predictable the environment feels, the less your brain needs to run threat simulations. It's not that cats remove all problems. It's that their behavior broadcasts, again and again, that the space is stable enough to rest inside. A cat also adapts its rhythm to you in a way that's quietly affectionate. People think cats are purely independent. They are independent, but they're also observant and social on their own terms. If you tend to sleep late, some cats adjust and do more resting with you. If you're up early, some cats shift their peaks to match your movement. They don't do it like dogs do, with obvious devotion. They do it like cats do, with subtle proximity and routine alignment. It's a form of bonding that doesn't ask for applause. And cats do something else with time that feels almost philosophical. They take micro-rests seriously. A cat doesn't wait until it has a full hour. It naps in minutes. It closes its eyes and rests in small pockets, then returns to wakefulness without resentment. Humans often treat rest as an event they must earn. Cats treat rest as maintenance they deserve. That attitude is deeply soothing when you're trying to sleep, because your mind tends to treat sleep like a test. If you don't fall asleep quickly, you worry. If you wake up, you worry. If you shift, you worry. Cats do not worry about these things. They rest when they can, they adjust when they need to, they return to rest without drama. Your body listens to that example the way it listened to the purr. It doesn't need instructions. It needs a model. The cat shifts slightly again, perhaps changing posture by a few inches, not because something is wrong, but because the body is optimizing comfort. That optimization is part of the rhythm too. A small move, then stillness. A soft exhale, then quiet. You notice how the night is no longer something you're waiting to get through. It's a period the cat knows how to inhabit. The cat's internal clock, shaped by dawn and dusk and routine and scent cues, keeps the night organized. And as your attention rides along with that organization, those gentle cycles of sensing, resting, adjusting, you feel the world becoming less sharp. Time feels slower, not because someone is stretching it, but because your nervous system is no longer sprinting ahead. It's syncing to a creature that lives in cycles, who understands that rest doesn't have to be perfect to be real. That sense of rhythm, of the cat moving through the night in small, intelligent cycles, starts to feel like a private language you're learning without flashcards. You can't speak it the way the cat speaks it, but you can recognize when the cat is saying something. The ears angle, the whiskers soften, the paws tuck, the eyes slow blink. The whole body becomes a sentence, and the night becomes a quiet conversation that doesn't require you to perform. And then, because cats enjoy reminding you they're not only elegant machines, but also emotional creatures with opinions, the conversation turns audible. A sound slips out of the darkness, small, close, and strangely personal. Not a dramatic yowl, not an alarm, just a soft meow, the kind that sounds like it was meant for exactly one listener. You. People love to pretend cats are silent, aloof, little shadows. That's one of the myths that makes humans feel better when they don't know how to read them. The truth is that cats are communicative, and they've gotten extremely good at communicating with humans in particular. Like they studied you for years and decided your species responds best to certain sounds and behaviors. Which is accurate. They did study you. They just didn't call it that. The meow, for example, is not primarily a cat-to-cat adult language. Adult cats don't typically walk around meowing at each other like coworkers chatting in office. They use scent, posture, and other vocalizations with one another, but the classic meow is heavily aimed at humans. Kittens meow to their mothers. Adult cats keep meowing to you because you're the giant food and warmth creature they live with, and they discovered that your brain is basically wired to respond to baby-like sounds. It's an impressive bit of social adaptation, and also slightly insulting if you think about it. Your cat, at some level, decided you're easiest to train through your feelings, and you let it work. The calming part isn't just that cats make cute sounds. It's that the sounds are purposeful, and the purpose creates predictability. A certain meow means something. A certain chirp means something else. A trill can be greeting. A short, sharp meow can be request. A drawn-out complaint can be, well, a complaint. Cats are very capable of protest, and they do it with theatrical restraint, like they're trying to keep their dignity while still filing a formal grievance. If you listen carefully, you realize your cat has a vocabulary tailored to you, not universal to all humans. To you. Cats often develop different vocal patterns depending on what works in their household. Some cats are chatty, running commentary on life. Some cats are minimalists, communicating with one look and a single sound that feels like a tiny judge's ruling. Either way, the cat is engaged. It's not speaking into the void. It's speaking to the relationship. And cats communicate with more than sound. The sound is just the part you can't ignore. The quieter part, the part that makes the night feel like an intimate ritual, is how cats use proximity. A cat doesn't need constant touch to bond. It uses the location of its body as a message. Sitting near you, but not on you, can mean comfort without clinginess. Sleeping with its back to you can mean trust because it's exposing itself to what it can't see. Turning its body slightly toward you can mean attention without pressure. Choosing the same room as you can be companionship, cat style. I'm here. Do not make this weird. Humans are always tempted to translate cat behavior into human romance or human friendship, and you don't have to do that tonight. The better translation is simpler. Cats measure safety and connection through calm co-presence. If the cat can rest near you, the cat is saying the environment you create is stable. That's not a small compliment. It's the foundation of everything you've been feeling in the dark. A cat can also recognize you in ways that feel quietly magnificent, not in a mystical, supernatural way, in a layered, sensory way. Your voice has a pattern. Your footsteps have a rhythm. Your scent is a whole biography. Your breathing changes with mood. Your habits create cues the cat can anticipate. So when you walk into a room and your cat looks up before you speak, it isn't magic. It's multi-sensory familiarity. Familiarity, again, is what makes the nervous system loosen. You can feel it when a cat chooses to greet you. Some cats do the classic upright tail with a curved tip, like a question mark. That tail posture often signals friendly intent. It's the cat version of walking in with relaxed shoulders and a quiet smile. Sometimes the cat adds a little trill, half meow, half purr, something that sounds like a greeting from a creature that refuses to admit it enjoys your company, but absolutely does. And then there's the head bunt, the cheek rub, the scent stamp you've already noticed. That behavior isn't only cute, it's a social handshake. It's the cat placing you into its scent map as a safe entity. Humans exchange names and handshakes. Cats exchange scent signatures and slow blinks. The cat is saying, "You're part of my known world." That's the kind of belonging the body responds to instantly, before thought catches up. Cats can also be surprisingly tuned to human emotion. Not because they read your inner monologue, but because they read your signals. Tension changes your posture. Stress changes your movement speed. Your voice shifts in pitch and rhythm. Your scent changes in subtle ways. Your attention becomes either scattered or sharp. A cat that lives with you sees these patterns repeated across days and weeks. It learns what you calm looks like and what you not calm looks like. Some cats respond by keeping distance. Some respond by coming closer. Some respond by doing that classic move where they sit directly on the thing you're looking at. Because if your attention is spiraling, the cat would like you to pay attention to the cat instead. It sounds selfish. It can also be grounding. Because cats are masters of interruption in the best possible way. They don't negotiate with your worries. They simply arrive and change the sensory scene. Warm body, soft fur, low purr, quiet gaze. Your brain can't keep spinning at full speed when it's suddenly managing a living presence. And the purr. Yes, it returns because purring is the cat's favorite multi-tool. You already know how it feels. A low vibration that seems to reach into your chest and loosen something you didn't realize was clenched. Cats purr in comfort, but they can also purr when they're stressed, injured, or trying to soothe themselves. That dual use is part of what makes purring so fascinating. It's not only I'm happy, it's also I'm regulating. That regulation is where the night gets almost mythic again, because the purr feels like a spell even when you know its physiology. The vibration is produced by the cat's laryngeal muscles and breath patterns, an internal engine that can run steadily with very little effort. Some researchers have suggested that the low-frequency vibrations of purring may support tissue health or bone density in cats, partly because mechanical vibrations can influence biological systems. The evidence isn't a bedtime fairy tale you should build your whole worldview on, but the possibility is quietly beautiful. The cat might be vibrating itself toward maintenance, a creature that heals by humming. Even if you set aside the biology, the emotional effect is real. Purring is a signal that often means this moment is safe enough to soften, and your body responds. Your breathing slows, your jaw unclenches, Your mind stops scanning for threats because the cat is broadcasting calm. You don't need to analyze it. You just feel it. Cats also communicate with silence in a way that feels oddly grand. Sometimes the cat doesn't meow. It simply appears, sits, and stares at you with a face that looks like it's waiting for you to remember a promise you made. That silence is not emptiness. It's pressure applied gently, like a hand on your shoulder. The cat is saying, I know you understand what I want. And you do. You always do. Food, warmth, a door opened, a lap offered, a routine honored. Cats train humans through implication. It's almost elegant, but there's comfort in it too, because implication means you're part of shared life. The cat assumes you understand because you've built patterns together. Patterns create predictability, and predictability is safety. Even the cat's more unusual vocalizations carry a kind of soothing logic once you learn them. The chirp or chatter some cats make when watching birds through a window often looks like excitement mixed with frustration, predatory energy trapped behind glass. It's not aggression directed at you. It's the cat's hunting system lighting up in a context where it can't complete the sequence. The sound is like a pressure valve, releasing intensity without action. Again, regulation. You start to see a theme. Cats are constantly balancing intensity and calm, and they do it through small behaviors that keep their system stable. The cat doesn't demand the world become perfect. It adjusts itself. It communicates. It returns to rest. That's why cats can feel like the perfect sleep companions even when they're not on their best behavior. They are sensory anchors. They create rituals. They bring their own calm technologies: purr, slow blink, grooming, posture, scent marking, measured movement. And when they do make noise, the noise tends to be targeted. It's a message, not random chaos. Even the dramatic meow at 4 a.m. is, in the cat's mind, a reasonable communication about a severe problem, namely, the universe failing to deliver breakfast on time. The cat might shift closer without touching you, choosing a spot where it can feel your presence. Cats often like being near enough to sense your warmth and movement, but not necessarily wrapped in it. Proximity is data. Your breathing becomes part of their environment. Your slow exhale tells them the room is settling. Your stillness becomes another layer of predictability. And then something even quieter happens. The cat matches you. Not perfectly, not like a mirrored exercise, but in the way that matters. The cat's breathing sinks to the slow pace. The ears stop aiming. The whiskers rest. The body folds into a posture that says the night is complete enough as it is. You realize that cats, for all their reputation as independent creatures, are deeply relational. They don't bond the way dogs do. They bond through coexisting in shared rhythms, through gentle signals exchanged over time. They build a small civilization with you, one made of scent, sound, routine, and trust. That small civilization is what you're lying inside right now. A room that smells like familiar life, a quiet hum of purr, a cat shaped into calm geometry, and your own body gradually giving up its habit of bracing. The cat doesn't ask you to be different. It simply demonstrates a calmer way to occupy time. And because it's a cat, it also demonstrates this calmer way while somehow still looking like it's doing you a favor. The cat's quiet language keeps echoing in you, not as words, but as a kind of atmosphere you can breathe. The purr is still there, or maybe it's faded to a memory you can feel in your ribs. The cat's body is close enough to be real, far enough to stay unmistakably itself. And something about that balance, intimacy without cling, connection without performance, makes your mind wander toward a deeper question you don't have to answer to enjoy. How did this happen? How did a small predator with night-billed eyes and a scent map in its head end up sharing a room with you, treating your bedtime as part of its territory, folding into sleep like it belongs here? Cats weren't shaped into companionship the way some animals were. They weren't designed to obey. They weren't built to follow your gestures like a living extension of your mood. cats arrived in human life through a quieter doorway. Usefulness, tolerance, and a slow mutual agreement that never required anyone to surrender their pride. You can almost picture the beginning if you let it be simple. Humans started storing grain. Grain attracted rodents. Rodents attracted small wildcats. Wildcats that could hunt near people without panicking got the best meals. People who didn't chase those cats away got fewer rodents. The relationship didn't begin with affection. It began with practical peace. Two species discovering they could share a problem and benefit from the overlap. And once a creature spends generations living near humans, the edges start to soften. The cats that tolerated human proximity did better. The cats that could read human patterns did better. The humans who tolerated the cats did better too, because a house with fewer rodents is quieter, safer, less anxious. Over time, the night began to include a new kind of presence, a predator that hunted what bothered you, then settled into the warm corners like it had always belonged there. It's a story without a dramatic conquest. No one trained cats into submission. Cats negotiated their place through behavior. You can still feel that negotiation today. A cat doesn't act like it was given a home. It acts like it agreed to live here because the terms were acceptable. That's why a cat can feel magnificent even while doing something as ordinary as curling into a loaf on your blanket. It carries that ancient independence in its bones. It is comfortable near you, but is not dependent on you for identity. It remains itself even when it's affectionate. That's rare. Humans love love that swallows the other person whole. Cats offer a different model, closeness that respects distance. Your cat's ancestors were small wild hunters, built for dawn and dusk. The body you see now still holds that blueprint. The flexible spine, the quiet pause, the motion-first eyes, the ears that hear what you miss, the whiskers that read the air. None of that was invented to entertain you. It existed long before you enter the story. And yet the cat adapts to you anyway. It adapts in small ways that feel almost suspiciously intentional. The meow aimed at your attention. The timing that aligns with your routine. The cheek rub that stamps you into the cat's map. It's as if the cat took an ancient body and layered a modern social strategy on top. How do I live with this large, noisy creature and still get what I want while keeping my dignity? The answer, apparently, was to become extremely good at reading you. Even the fact that cats choose where to be in a home feels like a statement of agency. You don't usually place a cat somewhere the way you might place a decorative item. A cat places itself. It chooses the windowsill because that's where the world can be monitored. It chooses the couch corner because the scent is familiar. It chooses your room because your breathing is a predictable sound that signals safety. That choice creates a strange comfort for you because it means you're not alone due to obligation. You're not being endured. You're being included in a quiet room. That inclusion feels like a warm secret. Your mind drifts to the way humans have always wrapped cats in mythology. It makes sense. Cats move through shadows with competence. They appear and disappear without drama. They stare at nothing like nothing is a full-time job. They sit in silence like silence is a throne. Of course, humans turn that into stories about magic, spirits, or secret knowledge. When something understands a night better than you do, it's easy to assume it knows things you don't. Maybe it does, just not the kind of things you were taught to value. Cats know the things that make a room safe. They know when a space smells familiar. They know what sounds belong and what sounds don't. They know the difference between a movement that matters and one that doesn't. They know how to rest without apology. They know how to be close without losing themselves. Those are not mystical powers, but they are rare skills. And there's another piece of cat magnificence that always feels like a magic trick, even when you understand the physics. The riding reflex. You've seen cats twist in midair and land on their feet like the floor simply accepted their authority. It's not superstition, it's body intelligence. Cats have a flexible spine and a highly tuned vestibular system in the inner ear that helps them sense orientation. When falling, They can rotate their front half and back half separately, adjusting their body position by shifting their limbs and spine so the feet align beneath them before impact. There are limits, of course. Falling is still dangerous, and cats can still be injured. But the fact that their bodies can do this at all is astonishing. It's another example of how cats are built for control without noise. They don't flail. They adjust. They don't fight gravity with panic. They negotiate with it. You notice how that echoes everything else you've been learning from the cat tonight. Measured decisions, quiet corrections, calm returns. Even the cat skeleton carries odd little freedoms. The collarbone structure, for instance, is different from yours in a way that makes cats feel like liquid. Cats have a small, free-floating clavicle that isn't rigidly connected the way yours is, that helps them squeeze through openings that seem impossible. If the head fits, the body often follows because the shoulders can compress and slide with less bony constraint. It's why cats can appear in places you didn't think were accessible. A cracked door, a narrow gap behind furniture, a space you assumed was too small. The cat sees it, tests it, and then flows through like your assumptions were just a suggestion. That ability contributes to the cat's aura. It doesn't merely live in the room. It moves through the room's hidden geometry. And then there's the quiet variety of cats themselves. How the same species can wear so many different patterns, colors, and textures, as if nature got bored and started designing coats the way humans design art. Tuxedo patterns that look like formal wear. Tabby stripes that mimic wild camouflage. Calico splashes that look like a painter got distracted and it turned out perfect. Solid blacks that swallow light. Silvers that make the fur shimmer like fog. Those patterns aren't just aesthetic. They're genetics written on the body, a visible reminder that cats are a living archive of tiny biological decisions made across generations. A tabby's stripes echo the wild patterns that help a hunter vanish into tall grass. A solid coat can be an advantage in certain environments. Long hair versus short hair changes insulation. Each cat is a version of an ancient template expressed with slight variations, and each variation carries a small story of survival, climate, and chance. You don't need to know the genetics in detail to feel the wonder. The wonder is in the fact that the cat beside you is both ordinary and improbable. A creature shaped by wild necessity, sitting in a human home, offering you calm through small behaviors that feel almost intentional. That improbability makes the moment feel larger. Cats also have a relationship with humans that is quietly different from the way humans relate to most animals. Many domestic animals were shaped to work with humans, to take direction, to perform roles. Cats often keep their own agenda. They collaborate when it suits them. They bond in a way that looks subtle from the outside, but is intensely real on the inside. You can feel it when a cat chooses you over a room full of people. Not because you're the loudest or the most exciting, but because you're the safest. Cats often prefer steady energy, predictable movement, calm voice. A person who doesn't chase them for affection like affection is a trophy. Cats tend to bond with the one who gives them space, which is both hilarious and deeply consistent with who they are. So when a cat settles near you at night, it isn't an accident. It's a selection. That selection can be explained scientifically. Routine, warmth, scent, safety cues. It can also be experienced emotionally without needing analysis. Both can be true. You can respect the biology while still letting the moment feel special. A cat doesn't need to be mystical to feel like a quiet miracle. It only needs to be exactly what it is. The cat shifts a little in sleep, perhaps, and the movement is so minimal it feels like a thought passing through fur. A paw flexes, a whisker trembles, the ears tilt then relax. These are small reminders that even in rest, the cat is alive with systems. Sensory monitoring, temperature regulation, micro-adjustments for comfort. The cat doesn't turn off. It simply lowers the volume. That lowering of volume is the gift it keeps giving to you over and over without ever announcing that it's doing so. You can feel your own attention becoming gentler. The mind that wanted a story with sharp edges starts preferring stories with soft curves. The cat's history, wild to domestic, predator to companion, doesn't feel like a timeline. It feels like a slow merging of worlds. The ancient and the modern sharing one room. That's the grandeur hiding inside something so small. A creature shaped by instinct, choosing to live within human life without losing its nature. A quiet alliance that has lasted thousands of years, still playing out in little rooms like this one, under blankets beside sleeping humans. And maybe that's why the cat feels so soothing at night, because it carries a wild competence into your domestic softness. It brings the calm confidence of a creature that knows how to survive the dark and offers you a version of that confidence, not through speeches, but through presence. The cat stays still again. The purr might return as a low vibration, or maybe the silence holds on its own, padded and warm. Either way, you're left with the sense that you're not just sharing space with a pet. You're sharing space with an ancient design, an elegant hunter turned household companion, still mysterious enough to keep your mind curious, still calm enough to let your body rest. The cat's ancient design sits so quietly beside you that it almost feels like the room itself has become older and wiser just by hosting it. The night, too, feels less like an empty stretch and more like a place with layers, scent layers, sound layers, memory layers. The cat doesn't fill the room with noise. It fills it with meaning. And somewhere in that meaning, without a clean line marking the change, you start realizing you've been doing the same thing the cat does all the time. You've been collecting signals and letting them reshape your state. You've been reading the night the way the cat reads it, not with eyes alone, but with attention. Small details, soft rhythms, quiet proof that nothing needs to be forced. There's a final kind of cat fact that ties everything together, not because it's the most dramatic, but because it's the most complete. Cats are experts at energy management. Everything you've watched tonight, purring, grooming, choosing postures, listening without reacting, sensing scent, shifting between alertness and rest, comes down to a single principle. Conserve energy, spend it precisely, return to calm quickly. Cats don't waste motion. When they move, it's clean. When they rest, it's full rest. When they need to reset, they do it through a ritual rather than rumination. They don't argue with their bodies. They cooperate with them. That's the real reason cats feel so relaxing to be around. Their calm is not a fragile mood that can be shattered by a single thought. It's a practice built into biology and repeated in behavior. They don't need to try to relax the way you try. They're engineered for it. And watching something that is engineered for calm makes your brain remember that calm is possible. Cats also have a hidden talent that keeps them stable in a world that would otherwise be chaotic. They keep boundaries in simple ways. A cat will leave when it's done. It will move away when it wants space. It will come back when it wants contact. Humans often stay in things too long. Conversations, obligations, thoughts, because we're trained to perform. Cats are not trained to perform. Cats are trained by evolution to preserve themselves. That's why their affection can feel so honest. A cat that sits near you is there because it wants to be there. A cat that slow blinks at you is sending a signal it doesn't have to send. A cat that purrs in your presence is regulating itself in a way it doesn't need your permission for. Everything is real-time choice. Choice is calming. And there's one more layer that brings this full circle. The cat is not trying to make you sleep. It isn't doing any of this for you. It's doing it because this is how cats live. The gift is that their way of living happens to create a soft environment you can borrow. Borrowing calm is different from chasing calm. Chasing keeps your muscles tight. Borrowing lets your muscles loosen. You don't need to manufacture the feeling from scratch. You can take the pace that's already present in the room. The cat shifts once, barely, and settles again. If you were watching closely, you might catch a tiny exhale, the smallest repositioning of pause, the tail adjusting like a final comma. Then stillness returns, complete, without lingering restlessness. You remember the quiet map the cat makes through scent, marking what is familiar. You remember the way grooming works like meditation, tongue barbs combing through fur with steady rhythm. You remember the pause, those silent shock absorbers. You remember the eyes that can drink in low light, the pupils that widen and narrow with the confidence of a well-designed instrument. You remember the postures that conserve heat and signal trust. You remember the purr, the low vibration that feels like a soft motor humming somewhere under the night. All these facts aren't scattered anymore. They've become one continuous picture, a small predator turned companion, moving through darkness with calm competence, turning a room into a predictable, readable world. And your body responds to predictability the same way it always has. It stops bracing. The muscles in your face soften. The tongue rests in your mouth without pressure. Your shoulders sink in a way that feels like permission. Even your thoughts start spacing out, not in a forced way, but in the natural way that happens when the mind is no longer convinced it needs to keep watch. The cat is still there, warm and quiet and ancient. It doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't need to impress you. It simply exists with such controlled peace that your nervous system begins copying it, like a tuning fork pulled into resonance. The night feels bigger, but not threatening. Bigger in the way a calm ocean feels bigger, vast, steady, indifferent to your worries in the most comforting way. The cat belongs to that vastness. It can sleep in it. It can wake and read it. It can choose calm inside it. You can too. The pacing of your breath slows without you trying to slow it. Each inhale is quieter, less ambitious. Each exhale feels longer, like your body is gradually releasing something it carried all day without asking if it wanted to carry it. The room stays the same, but your experience of it changes. The edges blur slightly, not visually but emotionally. The world becomes less sharp, less demanding. The cat's breathing becomes more noticeable now. Or maybe your attention has simply grown gentle enough to hear it. It's a small rise and fall, a soft rhythm. It doesn't rush. It doesn't hesitate. It just continues, like a simple clock that isn't trying to control time, only measure it. And when you imagine the cat's internal clock, those cycles of alertness and rest, you begin trusting your own cycles more. Sleep doesn't have to be a perfect plunge. It can arrive in stages. It can be gradual. It can be a slow dimming rather than a sudden switch. The cat doesn't shame itself for waking briefly. It checks, then returns. It doesn't interpret a shift as failure. It interprets it as adjustment. That mindset, borrowed quietly, can loosen the knot of, I need to sleep right now. Because that knot is one of the loudest things in the room when everything else is quiet. You don't need to force the night into obedience. The cat never does. It simply settles again and again, until settling becomes the default. The room feels softer at the edges, as if the air itself has become padded, the way a cat's paws pad the floor and swallow sound. The cat remains nearby, a warm shape that belongs to the night as naturally as shadow belongs to a wall. Breathing becomes the simplest thing you have to do, and even that doesn't feel like a task anymore. It feels like the body remembering something it always knew, something older than thought. Your mind can rest in small details, the gentle rise and fall of fur, the quiet certainty of a creature that doesn't argue with darkness, the way calm can live in a room without anyone talking it into existence. The cat's presence is steady, not dramatic, not trying to be anything more than what it is, and that steadiness spreads through you in the slowest, kindest way. If a thought drifts by, it doesn't need a response. It can pass like a faint scent in the air, noticed and released. The cat would do the same. A brief awareness, a quiet decision, and then a return to stillness. The night keeps holding you, not with tension, but with a wide, patient quiet. Your eyelids can feel heavier, not like a burden, more like a soft curtain lowering on its own. Muscles loosen in places you forgot you were holding tight. The jaw relaxes. The shoulders melt. The hands rest. The body settles into whatever shape feels right, The way a cat always finds the shape that fits the moment. The cat stays calm, the room stays calm, and your breathing stays slow and easy, as if the night has always been meant for this. Simple warmth, quiet rhythms, and the gentle sense that nothing needs your effort anymore.